All right, welcome everyone. We are Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for podcast number 68.
The Twitch VOD.
Yes, talking about HunterxHunter. Enjoy, guys.
Hello, everyone.
HunterxHunter.
Yes, it is that time.
For HunterxHunter.
Because
Indeed.
after like a year and a half,
148 episodes.
148 episodes, and that's like 74 weeks, but then we didn't go
Minimum
because we didn't go double slot right away.
Right.
So yeah, that's a lot of weeks.
That's a lot of weeks, y'all. This has been a journey. This has been
Uh-huh.
a wild journey.
Just a bit.
Oh my god, lots of people follows and subs. So we got
Yes.
to Blackbird94 with the follow, the man 320144 with the follow. Thank you so much. Glad to have you here. And Mono Mia, hey, with the tier 1 sub.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the
make sure to
SOS.
link your Discord and Twitch accounts. You get a nice
Yes.
purple name in addition to your senpai tag and all that on Discord.
Yes, but this is podcast 68, not 69.
Yeah, it's not 69. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Before we go any further, got to shout out a recent VIP that just joined us on Patreon, Caffeinated King. What the heck, dude? Thank you so much. And guys, Calf has been on our Discord since like the beginning.
very beginning,
the very beginning. And just recently it was the biggest surprise to see him like join the VIP chat. And we were like, Calf, you're here! And he's like, I'm here! And we're like, Nani! Yeah, I know, right? And we want to thank you so much, bro, for supporting us, but also just being a part of the community. You're like a cornerstone. Like there's this very specific like corner where Calf like inhabits and dwells, and your influence is well known. It is known as they say.
It was foretold.
Was foretold. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
HunterxHunter though. Like,
HunterxHunter.
Yeah.
So guys, we're gonna get really systematic with this because, as you know, HunterxHunter is all about systems.
Exactly. So we're gonna be organized.
We're gonna be organized in this podcast. Specifically, we're going to be talking about every single arc. And we're going to be talking about highlights for us within those arcs as we talk about them one by one in a linear fashion from the beginning with the Hunter exam up to the chairman election arc. And we are also going to do something special for the Chimera Ant arc where we're going to separate it to before Meruem and during Meruem or after Meruem's birth.
In the year of our Meruem.
In the year of our king. Yes. Oh! You know, as Poof would say.
No, it needs to be a bit higher pitched and more orgasmic, but you don't need to try and...
Okay.
Yeah.
I really wanted to. Oh my gosh. Amin02 with the follow. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Star Platinum 08 with the Prime resubscription.
Yes.
I hope you liked HunterxHunter. Oh, it was kind of all right in my opinion. 7 out of 10. I'm kidding, by the way. It's a masterpiece. Awesome. All right, so the way we're going to do this, kind of just going forward here, is we want participation from you.
Exactly.
But the thing is we want to have the participation be within the confines of the arc we're currently talking about.
Exactly.
So we're going to be mentioning our highlights from within, say, from the beginning, the Hunter exam.
Yeah.
So let us know what are your highlights throughout the Hunter exam arc, and things that you want us to kind of lightly touch upon, because we're going to be giving a good amount of time to each arc, but we have to save sometimes for the behemoths, you know, the big arcs in the room. So that means probably not as much time going to that little bit with the Zoldyx and Kilowatt and where we meet Silva and all them. Yeah. So, shout out to everyone in chat. We got Jad the Mad. Hey guys, just before the main discussion starts, I was wondering if you had heard the Made in Abyss news. Yes, we've heard the Made in Abyss news. Yes, thank you very much for passing it along. What's after HunterxHunter? Shouted to the Band of the Hawk. And Takasu. Yes, after HunterxHunter in terms of reactions, we have
After the Rain on Tuesday, and then we have the Monogatari franchise on Thursday, starting with Bake Monogatari. So it's actually the first episodes of each of those. Well, wait. No, it's not. Anyways. But they will be this week on Early Access. And then or however that works. Yeah. Point is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So,
Thank you. Yeah. I love this t-shirt.
Yes, that t-shirt's amazing. Yes. The funny thing is we actually have new, like, anime stuff, like, to wear on like videos and things, thanks to our family who
Right.
understand that we have gone off the deep end with regards to anime and have
Exactly.
sent us some lovely clothes. Like I got a Plus Ultra hoodie that I'll probably be wearing at some point when it's a little colder.
We gave them some very interesting sort of like, answers when they basically said, we want to know what you guys want for Christmas. And it's like, well, we want anime stuff.
Well, no, you said that. I wanted to be surprised.
Said, right, you said you wanted to be surprised. I said I wanted to be surprised specifically with anime stuff.
I gotcha.
So it was like, they had some trouble with that. But they
slice
did
of
pretty
life.
well. Did pretty well.
Yeah, silent voice. Sorry, I said slice of life for some weird reason. Okay, so in the Hunter exam, we have the burden of introducing our protagonist and the world all at the same time. So, Jake, when you think back on the Hunter exam arc, and we think back to Gon with his fishing pole, and, kind of his cheery, hopeful smile.
That vanishes as the show goes on.
Well, yeah, it's something that I think they really had to lay the groundwork for his characterization in a way that would be consistent throughout.
Right.
Because since he's a kid, there are some unfortunate tropes of kid characters that I would say Gon's character definitely avoids.
Right. And in some ways, he kind of bulldozer avoids them
Yes.
in his traditional Gon style.
That is also true.
One of the biggest things that I think is important that cannot be understated about the Hunter exam arc, especially in the beginning, is that it wasn't about introducing the characters, but it was about introducing the themes and the style of Hunter x Hunter.
Right.
Because since Hunter x Hunter is such a like kind of contrarian show, they had to really set that up strongly in the beginning so that you knew, okay, nothing is as what it seems,
Right.
And if in fact, if something seems one way, then the certainty is that it is not that way. That's the one thing you can always expect.
Exactly.
The unexpected.
I believe it was, help me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I think it was within it was either the first episode, not the first episode, the second episode or the third episode where we were introduced to the shapeshifters.
Right.
And that was the first instance of the story having a classic switcheroo on us. And that was something that I really enjoyed because while the plot leading up to it was kind of just average.
Right, we didn't really care necessarily about the specific conflict that was going on there. The way they did it was still very creative.
Right, so the ending to the episode where they're all flying off into the, with the moonlight, and having, this relationship be formed there, we're like, cool, power of friendship. And we're thinking, okay, this could be a fun way to resolve. I don't think I was even thinking this at the time, but now looking back on it, I think it was, this is how conflicts will be resolved in Hunter x Hunter. And if you look back at the arcs in general, the arcs don't usually end with some kind of climactic battle.
Nope. Usually it ends with a resolution or shift in character motivations that cause the conflict to disappear.
Yes, and that's something that I loved, like, immediately being introduced to in Hunter x Hunter early on, like really early on. The problems I had with Hunter x Hunter was I came in with the obvious bias against long-running shonen.
Right.
I've never been a fan of long-running shows in general. Like, the longest show I watched, like, to completion way back when was, like, 24 or Lost. And both of those shows are not, okay, right. Lost has some really good elements to it, but they really took some huge dips, in the middle of their show.
Yep.
They'd get repetitive, they'd get formulaic and predictable.
And we're not even bringing up the show that must not be named in Caleb's presence, which is rhymes with each. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not so peachy about it.
So, right.
Specifically with going into Hunter x Hunter, we've heard, okay, this is there's a lot of hype around this. There's a lot of good things to gain from this series.
Kind of a slow start in like the first few episodes.
Slow start. And I think that was really important for us to understand, because once we were introduced to Kurapika and Leorio, I was like, oh, okay,
cool.
We have the squad, in some ways the bro Harry Potter trio.
Right, and that was all episode 1, right? Because that episode 1 was
Yep.
the whole thing with the boat and the captain. I love that episode. It's a really good
and then they had the
first
storm.
Episode. Yep.
Very natural conflict.
Yeah.
But when we kind of skip ahead and we get to them making it to the actual Hunter exam part, we're like, there have been a lot of little puzzles and things to get us to this place, and we have a very simple perspective on each of the 3 characters. I will say that this was something that I sensed from the get-go, but I was maybe a little bit too maybe had some reservations about it was that they were going to hold off on characterization and very much give it in a drip feed or just save it for big doses later.
Sure.
Because there wasn't really that much given to Gon, like, early on.
And I wonder if that's almost kind of like the Brotherhood problem, where because it's an adaptation of an earlier work that didn't go all the way through, like, you know, that it basically is going farther, so it's, a lot of it is going to be recapping stuff that the previous series covered, that maybe, like, they went a bit faster almost through a lot of the stuff, because, you know, one, we didn't have to deal with filler, but then, like, apparently in the original series, Gon stays on Whale Island for what, like 3 episodes?
In the original series, the main thing that, at the very least, the people, mods and everything made sure I, you know, was able to go back and watch, was that there was a key scene with Kite,
right?
Like early on,
and you showed me that
scene, bear and the whole, you know, Hunter tag and the whole thing with Jing and. Essentially Kite giving him the impetus to start his journey. Now, I will say that I actually like putting them both in my head and melding them together rather than taking one as canon and one as not, because I like that Gon started his own journey. There was something about Gon being a self-starter and not a reactionary protagonist that was refreshing. I will say that even some of the more recent shonen that we've watched, the main character has a dream, but usually they need another character to come in order to push them.
Right.
And you have like Kageyama.
That chance encounter.
Kageyama in Haikyuu. You have
All Might
in My Hero
MHA,
Academia. Yeah. And instead of it being just the ideals of the main character being the thing that carries him on, we don't know really the ideals or the belief systems in the head of Gon other than his whole... I'd say desire for the adventure and to just find his father.
And his courage to an extreme level, because in the first episode we do see him jumping off the boat into the storm to save the person, right? And then it's only because, you know, Leorio and Kurapika then work together to, you know, grab him by the ankles. That was great.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that once Kilowatt is introduced in the story, like we've seen enough like images and stuff of things to know, like, okay, like this character and this character are like the two main characters and stuff.
And the way they would do it with like the what was it, like the commercial break transition image or whatever? No, because that was usually text, but it would have Kilowatt on it, but we hadn't been introduced to him, so it's like, okay, there's this very crucial character, but he's not with the first 3 at the start. Okay, well, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, once we had gotten through the whole thing with Satots doing the running bit in the tunnel and Gon and Kilowatt start to have this kind of little contest of, like, endurance and just running and stuff, we're like, oh, okay, cool. Here's the classic rival character. Here's the classic kind of bro character. And instead it was like, no, like, Gon was diffusing every attempt at maybe Kilowatt turning it into something like that. And
we were able to kind of see that once we got onto like the airship and how they interacted with Netero and the talk that they had and everything, and
which probably brings us to our first highlight. Actually, no. Highlight before that was the introduction of Hisoka.
Yeah,
I gotta say, as far as our first highlight in the entire show of Hunter x Hunter, the entire series, when Hisoka stepped on to the field, the crowd with all the people there. Yeah, we had the whole hilarious bit with Tompa and stuff, and that was funny. That was really funny. But the way Hisoka stepped onto the field after Tonpa had gone around and given everyone kind of a little bit of a hype up, Tonpa's like, oh, he's pretty good. Hisoka just comes on and steals the show, like, almost immediately.
And the thing is, like, I feel like because Hunter x Hunter was slower in the beginning, the fact that we had Hisoka with all his style really helped a lot. Because, I mean, as far as plot goes, you know, the plot was very straightforward, right? And it took its time in getting there, and we got good interactions with characters and stuff along the way.
Right.
But the fact that we had Hisoka in the mix, too, to add that... Well, no, I was going to say levity, but that really doesn't sound right.
No, he provided this wild card plot element.
Yeah, no pun very much intended.
Very much intended, but, like, that's something that the show needed because so much of it was structured to move the story along. There was this part about the show that felt so perfectly systematic in that they would each overcome a slightly more escalating conflict. But Hisoka represented something that was like, you know, in a video game, when someone walks past you in like high level gear and uses high level techniques and abilities and spells, and you're just like, oh,
right, power ceiling.
Yeah, power ceiling, exactly.
But I think the wildcard aspect is a really great point, because in the beginning of the series, they established very strongly that things will not be as they seem.
Right.
Right. You have to. We're gonna keep you on your toes. You have to keep guessing and all that stuff. And once they got into the whole thing of the Hunter exam, especially with the running part, I mean, running, you're literally on a linear track going in a direction for who knows how long,
DBZ flashback, something.
I know.
Snake away and all that.
But the fact that once they got into something with so much structure, even though there was the creativity within like the puzzles that they would have to solve and things like that, the fact that they had Ahsoka in the midst of that, so that it wasn't just the obvious obstacles, because in this way they were already kind of adding in another layer, because it's like, okay, we know you're going to expect twists with the obstacles, but now we're going to throw a little gremlin into the mix that'll just cause even more chaos, right? Because now there's multiple variables, and then you really can't predict what's going to happen next.
Tordontke, Yomri, and Hannah Joy 97. Oh wait, hold on. Yomri and Tordontke, thank you much for the Twitch Prime subs. Make sure to sync up your Discord and Twitch accounts so you can get access to our sub and Patreon only Discord. Hannah Joy 97, thank you so much for the follow. Glad to have you here.
Yes.
I think it was Vray said something. Hisoka flexing in the starting city with his high level gear. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yep.
And then we went into this bit where we realized that Hisoka was kind of counter, like he wasn't really like with the whole hunter vibe of things. Like he killed an examiner back then.
Right. And the thing is, like the way they set him up, it's the kind of character that you would assume would be the villain. Right. But, but HunterxHunter doesn't do that.
And so, I think because of that, we knew that he wouldn't be a villain. He was this just kind of crazy guy. And yet he didn't portray ever a sense of like, Joker crazy. If anything, he felt so reserved that we were just instantly in love with like his character and wanting to know more about him. So they go out into the forest and all that. They have the little like casual exchange about Hisoka and all that, and he's got his cards and things. I almost want to skip ahead because my favorite whole part of the Hunter exam outside of the actual island was the tower. Once they got up to the tower and they have this puzzle that's you have to get down. Okay, how do you do that?
Right.
And no, you can't go on the outside. You'll get literally like poof, like ejected off of it, and there's flying creatures around. It brought into this kind of this D&D kind of tabletop RPG setup where it's dungeon. Like a reverse dungeon essentially. We're just like, okay, how do we get down? Right. And that whole sequence of them actually finding their way down through the little tunnels and stuff, I really liked the concept of it. But I think this was also one of the first times where HunterxHunter revealed its pacing issues. Like,
sure, like having so much time with Leorio playing what was it, tic-tac-toe or what was it?
Well, the gist of it was once they got down to the part where they had to come down to the little bridge and fight people one-on-one in there.
At the same time, that was where some of the best stuff happened, because that introduction for Kurapika and the Phantom Troop and everything was absolutely excellent. I love how they did it, because they brought in another character who sort of pseudo through exposition, but not really. It was more showing than anything. Developed this organization, right? And then we're thinking, oh, okay, maybe these are going to be the villains, right? Since Ahsoka's more of just this Hisoka, you know. But then they do the thing of having the character that is the most emotionally invested correct the person who had been showing / expositing, right? So that we know actually what the Phantom Troop's all about and stuff. And it was fantastic.
It was a genius way to build up the Phantom Troop. But that's the important thing, though, is that's how early it was built up.
Right. But it was also a way to characterize Kurapika. So it just, and Kurapika is in fact a dude.
Yes.
Right. Because we know this now.
But I want to echo what someone else was saying there, that they said that part of the Hunter exam was their least favorite part. And I have to in some ways agree, because what I wanted to point out was that HunterxHunter is showing that Togashi is figuring things out as he goes. He has a great idea, a good concept. He goes into the execution side of it, and maybe it's just the anime adaptation. I don't know exactly. But the pacing of it is just not right. It's not done as smoothly as it could be. And there are a lot of moments within it that are done well, but I'm just talking about pacing. So they end up getting to the bottom. And at what point do they get into the actual Zeppelin? There's the whole part
Zeppelin
where they're jumping.
got them to the
Zeppelin got them to the tower?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That part with the Zeppelin, Netero, and Kilowatt,
that was fantastic,
and all that, that was amazing because it built up Kilowatt as believing he was so competent and so good that Netero couldn't even stop him. And little did we know.
Right, like let's count off the things that it did. It introduced the world because it brought in this idea of Netero and the true power ceiling, right? And it was mysterious about it, but it also got into the idea of Nen, even though we didn't know what Nen was at that point, right? So that's two things, right? Because there's the Hunter Association, then there's Nen. And then there's Kilowatt as a character, which was fantastic, and they introduced him well. But then it was also the dynamic...
him being an assassin, too.
Well, the assassin thing and all that, then his whole history and slashing out his mom's eyes.
The head's being
the head's being taken off, right?
Immediately.
It is a very aggressive introduction, because that I feel like is his true introduction as a character, because that's where we got to see him away from everyone else when he was in a bad mood and everything. But it also introduced the idea of the dynamic between him and Gon and how he's a different person when he's around Gon.
Right.
And that's basically what the whole story's about. So all those things done at once, like amazing.
In what could have been a simple transition scene.
Right, it could have just been like, let's travel. Okay, what are we going to do while we're traveling,
Well, I'm just saying they don't spend time on it.
Right.
They essentially say, well, we need to keep the pace moving. Let's just show them traveling in the Zeppelin for a little bit, and they maybe take a rest, and they talk for a little bit, but then it's over.
I'm going to kill Netero. I'm going to kill that old man.
I love how much it also shows the difference between Gon and Killua in how Gon is the determinator to the umpteenth degree in even being stupid about being the determinator.
Right.
And that's something that I feel like it's not about him being stupid, but it's about him not worrying about his own safety and his own body, essentially.
And addressing that as an actual thing with ramifications, because a lot of the times that will be... it'll be pretended to be brought up. In like, okay, to use the example that we're both so familiar with, Bleach, right? You just need more blood. You can bleed forever and just no. But they constantly do, like, even with Gon and Netero.
These are all ghost bodies. There are no consequences.
Yeah, exactly. There. But with Gon and Netero, it's like, no, you are going to be in serious trouble if you keep doing that.
Right.
So, and that's what causes Netero to change, and then it's the whole, Gon's guts, which then helps him out at the end of the Hunter exam arc. Yeah.
So it all works out really well. I would say that they had that weird little bit with the cooking that felt a little bit just kind of goofy and fun, but like I can almost like jump ahead to the island. The whole thing with them deciding
that was awesome.
Like that we should have basically a battle royale on an island. Whereas we've already been building up that certain characters within the group have different abilities that work really well, even though we knew back then that we did not care at all about any of these side characters. We
liked Hanzo.
I knew we liked Hanzo, but if you actually go back, he gets very little actual screen time.
Oh, I know, yeah.
The one that they kept kind of slightly drip-feeding kind of this menacing aura around was Gitaraker.
Oh, right.
The twist character of the whole arc. And
the character we were like,
we had some of the dumbest theories about him.
He's the side antagonist that's more like to build up Ahsoka, you know? Yeah. Right.
Oh man, that was great.
Yeah.
I mean, we cared about Hanzo in the fact that he had a quirky, fun concept or design, but this is again, I'd say, an important distinction with the way Togashi does things, or at least it seems like he does things where we look at things with hindsight. Is he will throw way more characters than he needs because then he treats this like a DM. He now has NPCs as tools that he can use in the story.
Yeah.
But when you realize, and this is a little bit, I would say, just not to knock down anything about Togashi here, but you have to realize that most of these characters are built to be existent characters within the world.
But not necessarily to be used.
But not necessarily be used to be multidimensional characters. An example, I think, perfectly so is Hanzo, is that he was put into the story to have a fun, quirky idea, but then to contrast that when he fights Gon, because he's so competent in that specific area. But then, much to our chagrin, he's gone. He's actually, removed from the story.
Just like Sniper Girl. No, not quite like Sniper Girl, but yeah.
And that's something that... It's realistic, but it is something that is less entertaining than having, at least in my opinion, than having a smaller, more tight cast where everyone gets characterization.
And that I think was one of the weirdest things to get used to was because the idea of a show being longer. It's like, all right, this show is 12 times the length of, like, you know, most of the shows we watch. Cool. All right. Okay. So that means they're going to do 12 times the stuff, right? Not quite. Kind of, you know, and like, I would, like, my initial assumption was that, okay, cool, they're going to flesh out every character almost, like, painfully so, you know, or just not at all, or, you know, however they're going to do it. But in this, they just take them, they set them up, they give them what they need as a start, and then they, like, save them for later. And it was the strangest thing, because, like, with the whole Hunter exam arc, they took their time with it. Like, they didn't rush it, you know.
Yeah, they could have probably chopped out about 5 episodes. I think they could have,
Yeah.
It might have taken away from certain parts that weren't built up as well then, but I really do think that the Hunter exam is an example of where concept was high and execution was just kind of average.
Although, one thing I will say, I generally don't like battle royales.
Yeah, me neither.
The Fate series is an exception, and the other exception is the Hunter exam, because they didn't just have it be a battle royale. They had there be tactics involved, because you didn't really have a power system, so people really were using weapons, and the weapons were all they had, except for Sniper Girl, because she had to get punked by the power system.
People could die.
But
the objective was not to kill everyone.
Well, and most importantly, the objective was not to kill everyone, but most importantly, there was prioritization given to certain people. So it wasn't just that you had to kill anybody, it was that you had to find
you had a target.
You could take down 3 people, but you had a target, right? And there was and that was great, because also the fact that because the objective wasn't to kill people, that meant people could lose but not die.
Yep.
Right? So there was this idea that, like, you could have a main character, and even though, you know, like, say, Gon is not going to die, right?
Right.
He could get his tag taken.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be a legit problem. You know.
Yeah.
So
the way they handled the island was the best part about the Hunter exam.
Oh, yeah, it was so great.
The reason why I'm not putting the little bit of the actual tournament, you know, as being the best, is because it really boils down to 2 decisions that Gon and Killua make, and the other characters, like the reveal of Illumi being Gitterrocker.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff there, building up, foreshadowing the conflict that will be Killua's arc across the series, which I would say is probably one of the best things about Hunter x Hunter as a series.
Because Killua is best boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Killua's best boy. Gon is best dad. No, just kidding.
Well, it's certainly not Jing. And one thing I will say, I absolutely loved how they did the Gon versus Hanzo battle, because if it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, if you haven't figured out yet that Gon is a determinator, he is, and if you haven't figured out that we're going to be doing it in a more realistic fashion,
yes,
here's where we'll show you, right? And like that, I think I mentioned I think I titled the actual video Cool Hand Gon, but it really was like this Cool Hand Luke thing. If you haven't seen that movie, it's an old classic. It's quite good, but it was great to show how someone that did not have the capabilities was able to basically, through clever thinking, even though it was very straightforward thinking, win when they shouldn't have been able to. Right, and that the results of that was based on character motivations, right? Who the person was as a character, right? And in some ways, that was like a little microcosm of most of the arcs in Hunter x Hunter. Is that there was all this prep, there was all this tension in the process, and then it ended because the person changed their mind, right?
Yep.
They realized what was really a priority to them.
Yeah. Netero's whole twist on giving the tournament to be this loser advances thing was also, again, a great concept. I think this was actually one of the best executed parts. The concept was fun, but because we didn't care about maybe more than, I would say, maybe about 4 or 5 characters in this thing there, it was kind of a thing of us guessing, you know, how is this going to work out?
Well, one of the things that I think is so amazing about that, though, is that they didn't actually do the whole tournament. They did the whole tournament, and at the same time, they didn't. Because they had the episode with Gon and Hanzo, right?
Yep.
And then Gon, you know, wakes up or however it goes, and it's over, right? And Killua lost, you know?
Yeah.
So that... I love how they did that. Because most tournament arcs don't end, you know? But they did here. But not in the way you'd think. So
I actually want to talk about this message someone just tagged on here, because I really have to refute something about it here. It's like, I feel your little problems with Hunter x Hunter, like the pacing and weird emphasis on characters that take more screen time than more important characters, can be solved if you look at Hunter x Hunter from a different lens. That is, there are no main characters in Hunter x Hunter. Everyone is important. Everyone gets their own characterization, development, and mini arcs, and we just follow Gon and the others, who are small people in a huge world. Plus, Togashi has said in an article that he does things in Hunter x Hunter because it's stuff he... Okay, so first off, the whole thing of the everyone is important in Hunter x Hunter, I'm not going to attack the hyperbole of it, but I'm going to say that there are very clearly main characters in Hunter x Hunter. And the ones that are main characters get actual, like, multi-dimensional characterization. An example would be, if a character wants something, that's a bit of characterization. There are characters in this series that want something. But until you have something that, like, adds like something additionally to that, or contrasts that, or just amplifies it in some extra way, the character is more or less, just in our perspective, not a character. They're ultimately a colorful plot device. An example would be all the characters that are with Kurapika in the later arcs, but I mean, we don't have to go into that here. And an example I think that would be even simpler here is actually like Tonpa as a character has more characterization in the Hunter exam than most of like every character.
Hanzo, for instance.
Than Hanzo. Yes, that's a great example. Tonpa's character is one that actually gets an inordinate amount of characterization comparatively to every other applicant.
Hence the memes.
Yes, hence the memes, exactly. And that is something that is very interesting. Tonpa as a character holds little relevance outside of the actual Hunter exam arc. He doesn't really matter.
Other than that one Easter egg when Kilowatt goes back to the Hunter exam.
Right.
You know?
And the reason why he gets this characterization is not because he's a main character. It's because he's with the main characters. Another character who we'll talk about later, who I really loved the characterization of, was Melody. Melody got, again, an insane amount of characterization because being with Kurapika during that time. Right. So there are definitely main characters in Hunter x Hunter. Everyone is important in the sense that they are all persistent characters. No one, I'm sure at some point these characters that haven't gotten brought back at this point will get brought back just for the purpose of showing that the world persists. But that doesn't make them, on an equal playing field with any of the main characters.
Right, and I think one of the big things about Hunter x Hunter, it's not even necessarily that all characters are like equally important or whatever, but it's that the characters will change.
Yeah.
So, All
right, so we have to wrap up the Hunter exam here. Many of our highlights can be boiled down to
the island,
the bit with Hanzo and Gon, the bit with Meruem, Gon and Kilowatt. Did I say Meruem?
Yeah.
Netero. Sorry. Netero, Gon and Kilowatt. Yeah. I would say primarily Hisoka's introduction, but then also the fun banter that we got between the main crew characters, and specifically between Kilowatt and Gon once they started having more time separate.
The one thing that when thinking back, I wish we got more of in the Hunter exam arc is more Leorio, because he leaves the story fairly soon, and that because it wasn't until he came back at the very end of the show where I was like, man, I have missed you. But
yeah. So what are your highlight moments of the Hunter exam arc specifically, and specifically ones that we didn't talk about? Let's see if we can notice any in Chaz. Where's my heart ripping? Oh, the whole thing with Kilowatt tearing out the heart
that was
with
great.
his assassin techniques. That was extremely hype, very cool. It also put Kilowatt up in our minds as being the most competent of the four.
Right.
For a while, we thought it was Kurapika. And then
because
Kurapika got poofed by Kilowatt.
Head. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a good point there.
Yep.
Lyric talking about Netero and Gon's interactions being a connection to foreshadow Meruem versus Netero. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's all about
possible.
Gon continually charging and Netero basically like slapping him away.
Yeah, totally.
Him away.
Yeah. Highlights of Hunter x Hunter exam are Gon Killa versus Netero. Killa's assassination of the prisoner in the third phase. Gon breaking the wall to finish the tower phase.
Yes. That was great.
That was awesome. Gon's frustration about Hisoka's tag. Ooh, yes.
Yep. I was gonna say, yep.
That is probably one of the biggest characterization foreshadowing moments in the entire series.
I mean, literally, there was a lot of shadowing on the forehead of the main character.
But it was so... It was so much of a surprise to us.
Yes,
I can remember when we first saw that, and we're like, this is dark.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah. But like showing a darker side to the main character when they were set up as being so wholesome and positive, it's like, okay. I want more of this.
Right. There was an aspect of it that I think I mischaracterized when I first saw it, was that Gon needed to have things his way. That there was some kind of a temper tantrum being thrown here because...
I mean, in some ways he does.
In some ways he does,
but he's very stubborn.
He's very stubborn, but that was the thing I think I oversimplified it, was that he definitely wanted things to go his way. But this is an example of a repetition of his own inadequacy. He was seeing it as basically his inadequacy being the problem. So it was self-hatred. It was frustration not at Hisoka or not at the environment and things not going his way. It was a frustration at himself not being able to, handle that kind of thing.
Hisoka's bloodlust orgasm moment. That's right. That
was true. That did happen. Yeah.
Yep.
During the Hunter exam, when he tested Gon and Kill on the airship, Netero was able to fend them both off while using only his right arm and left leg. In his final battle against Merriman, prior to activating the miniature rose, he is left with only his right arm and left leg after Merriman's assault. Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's
incredible.
Right. I remember someone mentioned that after.
Oh, dang. Also that Netero took upon himself the handicap of only using one arm and one leg. Yeah. Gotcha. It's small, but seeing Gon watching people die and not break a sweat foreshadows his future attitude.
Yes, okay, that was
this is something that we latched onto hard, and I'm so glad that we did. We saw a character that was a walking contradiction.
Yes.
And it was very subtly shown. Like
that. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that helped the Hunter exam arc be really engaging, even when I didn't particularly care about some of the plot things that were going on.
Same.
Because there was this idea of like, okay, they're building up this Hunter exam and all that stuff in the Hunter Association, and they're doing a great job of that. But this 12-year-old kid, I get that Kilowatt has a certain outlook on things because he's an assassin.
Yes, and I get that...
But what about Gon?
Yeah, I get that Kurapika and Leorio, because they actually responded in some ways a little bit intensely when people would, die or fall to their deaths and stuff.
More than Gon.
Yeah, Gon seemed to be either oblivious, naive, or... like he just didn't care.
Right.
Like he was aware because there's
one effed up kid.
There's a balance of awareness and how much you actually process it. So let's say someone is highly aware and doesn't process it at all. That seems a little bit odd, right? If someone has low awareness and they process it a little bit, I would say that's about as balanced as you can get, because most people aren't aware of that much going on around them. Like we are generally very like most of us are not very
Right. We don't know what we don't know, so there could be a bazillion things that we don't know.
Right, but Gon's actual thing about his character was that he's perceptive. He notices everything.
Yep.
His senses, his physical senses were actually so attuned that it scared other people. They're like, what? You can smell that?
Yeah.
He like hits the can. He's like, nah, it smells weird, you know? It's like, wait a minute. This kid is so perceptive, and yet he doesn't notice these things. I thought that was a brilliant form of characterization without actually leading towards any conclusion as to what it meant,
right?
Or actually having characters tell us that this was weird.
Sure,
because they could have had Kurapika or Leorio be like, tell the audience, this is weird. Why is he like this? You know,
but they didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
It was all showing. That's a really good point, and it was handled very well. Yeah.
Oh, Gon leaves Ponzu's outside of the cave, but steals her badge.
Oh, yeah, when Gon got them out of that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where it's like, wait, how are they going to get out of here? Like, it really doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Oh, when Killua ripped the person's heart out, Gon smiled like usual and wasn't phased at all, which threw me off a little.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I think that part right there, remember, because these were like horrible people, right? Mm-hmm. They were prisoners convicted and stuff like that, right?
Right. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the prisoners on death row, basically.
Right.
I think Gon was more wowed by how cool it was, and now
Which is again weird.
No, because it was so like it's displaying Killua's competence. He's like, wow, this guy is awesome that he could do that.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't have done that.
Oh, sure. But then ignoring the fact that he ripped a dude's heart out, yeah.
But I will say, and this is something that's weird about kids, and this is actually something of a characterization thing for child character because he's 12. He's not a 10, 8, 9-year-old where he's a child. He's like transitioning from child to adulthood by being 12.
Gotcha.
Is that they don't know that that's weird necessarily. Because seeing maybe some act of violence like that, they kind of go, oh, that's weird, but wow, he's so fast.
Sure.
It's kind of like when a kid, and this is kind of a weird thing, you see kids, watch videos of kids doing this, and they'll like go over and push over someone's creation, like say their kid's building blocks or whatever. The kid will go over and destroy the building of blocks, and then they'll let out this evil laugh. Just
they asserted their dominance over something.
Does that mean that kid is a psychopath? No.
That's just gone a psychopath. Not quite, more of a sociopath, but
But just the idea that focusing on the wrong thing doesn't necessarily mean that there was anything odd about that.
Gon at age 12 was more mature than Goku aged 300.
Oh, geez. Well, we need to bring in other shows into this. Any other highlights to bring up?
Because we're gonna exam arc.
Okay, so let's move on to the whole thing with Kilowatt. So when the Hunter exam arc ends, Kilowatt has a legitimate reason to go back home. And
very compelling
reason.
Yeah.
So when this whole thing happens, we needed to have a belief in the connection that Gon had with Kilowatt in order for this whole bit of the story to happen.
And it's really interesting that they did that then, because you might have thought about it and been like, okay, they're choosing to focus on Kilowatt, right? Which is, okay. But they were setting up the foundation for everything that comes after that. Like, why didn't they have it, focus on Kurapika or Leorio?
Right.
Well, they're not going to be around for the next 120 episodes. Or
exactly.
whatever.
And I think this is an example of where you can look at the conversation specifically that Kurapika had with Gon at the end of the Hunter exam, showing that Kurapika kind of wants to not babysit, but kind of look after this kid.
Kurapika's the responsible one of the group.
Kurapika is definitely the responsible one. I respect Leorio, absolutely, but I feel like he could have had more opportunities to be a character.
That's one of the things that I hear the most about, like, the reasons to watch the 1999 is that Leorio
is just better.
Yeah, he gets more screen time.
That's good. Okay. Yeah. Oh, TP Jones, thank you so much for the follow. Glad to have you here.
Yes.
Captain Jolly Roger, thank you for the Twitch Prime resubscription. What a ride with HunterxHunter. Excited for Monogatari, though.
Ooh,
awesome, yeah. So the whole Zoldyck bit, we're introduced to Killua's family, which had been properly built up since he was an assassin. So we're like, all right, let's get to meet them as an assassin. Right. I did think the whole door thing was really goofy and really funny to have them be like, all right, we have this interlocking strength door, and this is pre-Nen.
Super resistance training that they had to do and everything, and
that's a little silly, but I was kind of looking at this like, okay, this is a long-running shonen. This is something that I kind of would expect of.
Right. Because they can afford to do it, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Now, when they actually went into the whole Zoldyck estate and they started to meet the butlers, they started to meet Canary, Goto, and all of them, I really loved those interactions because they felt like there were layers to not only just the door or the defenses of their estate, but that knowing you don't just get an audience with this family just because you went through a door and you went through the dog, essentially. This is a serious deal. And as a unit within the Hunter world, I think that the Phantom Troop... I think that the Zoldyck family really is second only to the Phantom Troop. Like, as far as a group of people in the story... Because the thing about the Hunters is that it's never something where you get a lot of them until the very end, and even then, I would say that I don't even want to talk about those arcs yet. But
okay, would Meruem and the Royal Guard be considered a group, or since they're confined to one arc, would they not really count?
Well, okay, so no, you're right. I think that the Royal Guard and Meruem definitely are better than the Zoldycks. The thing about the Zoldycks, though, is that they are pervasive throughout the story, and they are also not introduced in order to be just a point of conflict.
Right.
They are going to be a persistent... They're almost a location.
Yeah, exactly.
That has, tentacles that reach out and influence the world.
It feels like that was... Even though it was character building for Kilowatt, and maybe this is one of the reasons why the way they did that, I loved so much, in addition to the fact that it didn't take very many episodes, they kept it concise, was that that was world building too. The Zoldycks, they're a family of assassins. They are well known. Their place is their estate on this. What was it? It was an island, right? Or
no, there was they were on the mountain. There was
that's
a
right.
huge mountain.
Yeah, the mountain
with the forest and stuff surrounding it.
And it's a tourist hotspot. You know,
with people not actually getting in. They just come to look at the outside, you know?
Yeah. But the idea that something like that exists publicly. Like, think about it. You have a public family of assassins, publicly known at least, even if the estate isn't public, right?
Right.
That's pretty crazy, right? That, like you were saying, that's a location. You know, it's like this place in the world where you're like, that exists.
Yeah,
what else
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
permanency.
Yeah, I think that the idea that the Zoldycks were a huge part of the world's order and structure in this area just built up the idea that the Hunter x Hunter world could have anything, but also that the things that were coming, you know, in the future of the Hunter x Hunter world would be very exciting and engaging. And I gotta say, character designs for the Zoldyck family,
it was great.
They all looked like a family. Like, you put them all, like, next to each other, and there's a very clear, like, okay, here's Silva's bloodline kind of showing itself. Here's the mother's kind of bloodline showing itself, and then where they kind of merge and meet and stuff. No. And yet they're all terrifyingly dangerous. Even the like, gamer stupid brother who's supposedly, like, really smart, and he is smart, and we see him multiple times over the series being smart, but I love that he's basically there to make Kilowatt look even better.
Right, exactly.
And yet, I still respected him as a character.
Yep.
I feel like this was probably the best instance earlier on in the show where Hunter x Hunter introduced an ensemble of characters well.
Right, because the thing is, like, Hunter x Hunter has a lot of characters. Not all of them are really characters. You know, they'll have people that they bring in a lot of times, like, to just kill or get rid of later to build up other people, right?
Right.
But the side characters that are decided to actually be true, full side characters are done very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
And it's not just the fact that they get some aspect of characterization that separates them from the pack. They actually, they elicit very specific, unique reactions from our main cast as they interact with them. And I think Kilowatt's interactions with them, I think he got tortured actually a little bit.
Yeah, by Maluki, yeah. And then he just busts himself out.
Yeah. That was fantastic. It also, I think, sets up my appreciation for Kilowatt as a character over the course of the series, to where there were only a couple points in the series where I think Gon went above Kilowatt in my mind as being the best character in the story. There are two other characters that in some ways just overshot both of them, but that's in a later arc, and we'll talk about that then.
So badass, no one can touch them, even though everyone knows where they live.
Yep. Yeah. Well said, Savvy. That's exactly
another excellent way to build up this family of assassins.
So what were some of your highlights within the Zoldyck family arc bit? I'm gonna shout out some follows. We have Is Karma, Rangon11, and Garikai. Thank you so much for the follows. Glad to have you here. So have you guys ever noticed the names of the Zoldyck brothers' names merged together? I don't think so.
Ilu, Milu, Kilu, Aluko.
Kaloko.
Or, Kaluto.
Wow.
Alu,
I'll
Kaluto.
do it. Ilu, Milu, Kilu, Alu, Kaluto. That's really cool. And I think it is in the age order as well.
Oh, yeah. Look. Is Aluka older than Kaluto? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yes, the computer... Miluki had a smart moment where he talked about using mosquitoes to track down and kill the target.
That is true, yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Remember when Gon put strings on
on butterflies?
Butterflies to find blood?
Oh, yeah.
Hunter x Hunter times.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Highlight of Zoldyck arc is obviously Kilowatt and Silva's discussion. Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. That set up so much of Kilowatt's characterization for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
What I meant to imply was Gon leaving pawns outside. Okay, that's the thing there. We can go back and talk about that later. But also, all Zoldyck prodigies that shall one day take over the family business have white hair and are transmuters, while the others are manipulators after their mother. Wait, what?
Well, okay.
That's not something that they actually ever came out and said.
Well, but, okay. Kilowatt has white hair, and
Silva has white hair.
all the others
the
have black hair.
the grandpa.
Yeah. Well,
Zeno.
Zeno, that could just be because he's old, but
I think what they're saying is that everyone with white hair was a transmuter, because I'm trusting Vray. He has access to this information we don't.
Yeah.
So that would mean that. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much caught on quickly that Illumi was a manipulator. If anything, we knew he was manipulative before we knew what a manipulator was.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's interesting because those are opposites. Those are opposites on the Nenhatsu hexagon.
Right.
They are directly opposites.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious, because would that mean that they cover for each other's counters? I don't know if that's how
that
it
could
works.
be a good way of looking at it. Yeah, in the good cases, they cover for each other's counters.
If there was ever a moment where that's a great point. Zeno and Silva later against Crollo, they would be. Oh no, they were both transmuters then, because they were both
potentially
white guys. So
right. Yeah,
that's probably why they work so well together, actually. Because that's something that I would bring up, is that would make them not suited for teamwork generally. Just it's my thought. Going from transmuter to a manipulator.
Teamwork. Yeah. Right.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, the coin game. The coin game was cool. Yeah, the coin game was fun. Silva's declaration that Kill will return as an assassin, which has yet to happen. Yeah, that's awesome. I think the dog was a weird moment. The big dog, Mike. Yeah, that was that was kind of funny. But I thought it was a fun idea, though. Blah 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 blah. I'm glad you're structuring the podcast like that. Chat can remind you of important points between each arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. It's in the data books. Nothing really stayed in the show itself. Gotcha. And that is a good point, because it's not anything that the story, especially in the later types, really makes a point of, is saying, we introduce this person, transmuter,
That's a good point. Was Zeno a transmuter or an emitter? I don't know.
I think he would definitely be a transmuter, if that's the thing that they can, basically understand there, is that...
Right. I guess, yeah.
And that's actually a good point with the way that Hatsu or Nen works. You would think that with a harsh, rigid family structure and stuff, they probably specifically
would try and
condition people to becoming either transmuters or manipulators. That way, when they're passing on the idea to teach them not only assassin techniques, but Nen techniques.
That's one of the things I will never fully get, is because of how they set it up, but then because they set up the Nen system very well, and then so that they don't have to go into a ton of detail with it later on. I get confused a lot of the times of wait, is this person a this or a that or what?
My favorite moment was in the arc was Gon versus Canary, and the insight into Canary wanting to be friends with Kilowatt, and through that showing that there are good people in the mansion, plus Gon repeatedly getting up for his friend.
That's right. Yeah,
yes,
he kept going to the.
That was sweet.
Yep, getting knocked down.
Yeah. There was a really interesting bit where you realize that Gon was doing all this for a child assassin, and Gon doesn't care that Kilowatt's an assassin. He's his friend. Again, setting up Gon's characterization to that he doesn't care about the world's cultural systems for what is right or wrong. He basically looks and says, no, when it's my friend, I do everything for my friend. I even do things that are wrong to me, to myself as a person, because it's my friend. And that's another good build-up.
Yeah, it's funny. It is kind of just a subversion of the damsel in distress.
Yes, we mentioned that, actually.
But one of the things that's cool about it is that they do it of a rescuing, not necessarily from the standpoint of the physical, even though that's what Gon thinks it is, but what it really is a rescuing the person's heart. Because, Kilowatt could have left anytime he wanted to.
yeah, that's another good point. Okay, so this next arc that we're coming up onto here, I would say, is probably the arc that people forget if they haven't been watching our reactions for the longest time. But I think this is the arc that I actually had the most problems with.
Heaven's Arena?
Heaven's Arena, yeah. If I had to go back and look at an arc that I disliked the most, and this really sucks because this is when Nen is introduced.
Well, and it's also when we get Gon versus Hisoka, which is awesome.
Because I think that there were a lot of moments in other arcs where we either wouldn't understand something, or we would misinterpret something, or we'd forget something. But in Heaven's Arena, there was a very clear understanding that this was this was an arc that needed the impetus of a mystery box from Jing, and that brought them to Heaven's Arena.
What?
Now, this is part of the issue with this show's going to benefit from a rewatch.
Right. No, I think this is what it was. It's because Heaven's Arena was something that the characters decided to do because it would help them further their goal, which was something else.
Yes,
but
exactly.
It was a means to an end.
Yes. So,
like, it was kind of canon filler in that sense.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
And that's fine, because then we ended up getting into the whole idea of there being the real Hunter exam.
Yeah.
The Nen exam, which was in some ways probably one of the jankiest twists in the show, but also one of the coolest elements of the show when you look back on it as a whole. Because here's the thing, we have Nen getting introduced, and the way it's done is through some heavy exposition.
Yeah. Good exposition.
I think this is probably some of the best exposition in the show. The way Wing brings about and teaches the whole system to Gon and Kilowatt.
Yeah, ironically, the part that we have the issue with is when they go into the places where we would expect it to be showing now that they've done the exposition, but it kept being telling.
Yeah, so we had the bullies.
Yeah, and seeing Kilowatt, like, just tell them to scram, I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, there were a lot of hype execution moments within that. But it was when they put the emphasis on the actual specific things of it that we realized, and I think we realized this a little late, was, the reason, like, let's look about this very analytically, guys. The only reason why Heaven's Arena, they specifically did this ascending tower of, like plot contrived, fights in ascending order, is to showcase,
separated from other arcs.
Exactly, is to showcase how Nen works.
And
That's it.
And to go into too much detail, so that way they can go into almost no detail.
Yes,
and
later.
You'll follow with it.
And that is something that you cannot know in the midst of watching Heaven's Arena.
Yeah.
You just won't know that. You don't know that all this exposition is put in there, and the way that this is done, specifically because HunterxHunter has a lot of story to tell, and we can't be wasting time telling you every single time how certain Nen abilities work when we get into Hunter's the York New arc or the Chimera Ant arc. If anything, I actually liked the way Greed Island, and this is one of my crackpot tinfoil hat theories, is that Greed Island was a better Heaven's Arena.
Sure.
Togashi realized that Heaven's Arena had certain problems with it, and he said, I'm going to fix all them and make Greed Island. Greed Island had its own problems, sure, but the thing is that Greed Island, just taken as it is...
It serves the same purpose.
It serves a lot of the same purposes, but it's just way better in a lot of ways. So... yeah. But necessary evil, yes, that's a great point. I don't think this arc is bad. I just think when you compare it to the way they handle exposition in other arcs of the story...
It's a weak point of the series that strengthens the rest of the series. Yep. So... yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
One step back to take two steps forward.
Yep. And it introduces a lot of fantastic characters. We are introduced to...
I mean, Wing and Zushi were great.
Wing and Zushi.
Everything with them was fantastic. In the way they introduced the whole idea of Nen and Hisoka's whole challenge and blocking the pathway. And
Machi Nen threading Hisoka's arm and stuff.
Which is another introduction of the Phantom Troop, which made it even better.
The really whole thing about Nen, I think, was something that... in some ways, this is probably the unfortunate bit of us not having watched this show earlier, was we knew that Nen was coming. We didn't know what it was.
Right, we knew it was going to be awesome, because...
all we knew is that this show has the greatest
power system
in anime. Right. Like, maybe shonen, but really in anime, because power systems are really more of a thing in shonen specifically. Yeah. So when we start getting introduced to it, we're really on board. We're really on board. And I think the main thing was that they kept introducing things about Nen all throughout the series.
Oh, for sure.
There were a lot of things that got introduced to. And I think we also overestimated our capacity to actually absorb everything that they needed to do. But there were some moments of repetition and some things with specific bits that
and it's funny
were
because,
a little bit...
But like, even with something like, say, the Castro versus Hisoka fight, right? I mean, one, Hisoka was there, which was great. And even though I didn't like it from the standpoint of the fact that Hisoka was fighting someone like Castro, and that, you know, Hisoka had 3 losses already, so he had to win that one and things like that. Once we got to that part, my mind started just thinking like, oh man, I really want to come up with like Nen techniques.
Right.
Like I want to brainstorm and crackpot theory, you know, something that will be able to do crazy stuff. Like the way that Castro went over his like tiger claw, whatever, you know.
Yeah, he used like 3 different Hatsu parts in the hexagon, and they were all like equidistant from each other.
Right,
like,
right, exactly.
And it's like, bro, like,
yeah,
you're a tryhard.
But the fact that he did something, and then there was also this idea of that there was some mention that like something that he was doing, maybe it was an advanced technique. The idea that there's public knowledge about things that have been done with Nen, like
amongst the hunters,
right. But that makes me think of is like, say, D&D, for instance, right? And in the D&D spell list, they'll have all these spells that are like have, you know, so and so's blah blah blah, you know, Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everard's Black Tentacles. And it's like, okay, cool, and then, you know, maybe you're a wizard and you can copy stuff in your spellbook or whatever, but the idea that you could make your own spells.
Yeah.
And that then they could be added into the other thing, and then maybe someone else will be like, oh my god, that was brilliant that you came up with that technique. I want to use that too, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What Jacob and I would like just cream our pants over is if we could make a fantasy storyline like this, is if we were able to create a power system that was so well defined and limited that we could have our characters do anything and it would make sense. That is what HunterxHunter did in the simplest of terms.
And that's why the specialist category exists.
This is something that I think is just mind-blowingly genius about HunterxHunter. And I don't know if everyone's already talked about it and we're just like getting to the conversation. But the fact that actually the Nen system allows them to do anything, and we can explain it away in our heads without the show actually having to tell us how it exactly works is genius.
Yep.
It's like top tier genius. And the thing is we had to suffer through some of the exposition, but that's not really that bad, and we kind of expected HunterxHunter to have a lot of exposition at some point in the series.
They gave it at the time when we were expecting it, right? When they raised the question with Ahsoka and blocking the passage and everything like that. And they're
Ahsoka's
like, okay, we need to know about this thing. Come on, let's go. And it's tied to an antagonist that we care about as well, right? So we're excited. We're itching to get this exposition.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's important. But it is something that, again, the concept part in HunterxHunter, and this is something that I feel like Togashi was just figuring out as he wrote this, and we got to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that he knew what he was doing, but he also was still early in his whole exploration of the HunterxHunter world. He's like, I have this concept, and it's ready to get introduced here. I need to structure the story so that we don't waste any time here. And I feel like he actually probably cut out a lot of things with Heaven's Arena. A classic example is this. Think about how Heaven's Arena ends.
Yep.
They give the tag to Hisoka. Like, he gives the tag to Hisoka.
And then they're like,
the fight. They're done.
Yeah.
They're out of here.
That's one of the things that makes me think like, oh man, I'll bet it could have been and probably was way worse in the 1999 version. Not necessarily, but that they might have spent a lot more time there. Like that's where there could have been whole filler fights, you know, with characters that never existed, you know.
Well, what I think it was is that draft 1, Togashi probably like drafted out this part of the story and was like, it doesn't make sense for them to go all the way to the top floor or anything like that. This is the thing, a lesser anime would have had them go all the way to the top floor just because wish fulfillment, power fantasy, bullcrap. I just gotta say,
hey, it doesn't have to be wish fulfillment, power fantasy, bullcrap in order to follow through on a setup.
I got you, but you can see where my salt usually comes into with long-running stories, is that it's not actually about the characterization of the characters.
And and that was something that someone mentioned in here, but the Heaven's Arena arc was the first arc where we got to see Gon and Kilowatt alone together, which was great because we got a lot of really good interactions between the two of them. Because like I mean, come on, you know, Gon and Kilowatt, they are the main character of HunterxHunter, and this is where we got to see the main character get the most screen time.
Yes.
So far,
we definitely knew that the exposition was happening, and we're not criticizing Heaven's Arena, the Heaven's Arena arcs exposition as we are the repetition of specific exposition when it came down to certain fights, where...
Because at that point, we were itching for the thriller fight where it's going to be awesome because we can understand what's going on, a bit more and things like that.
Well, a classic example was the one, I think, where this is the first time we had a lot of people being like, you guys aren't getting it with Castro versus Hisoka.
Oh, and they carried it over on
It's
two
very
episodes.
specifically split into two fights. Two episodes. The first episode, I still don't like that episode at all.
I almost think that episode could be removed.
It could be removed.
And then just have it be done in a faster pace in the
There was the whole thing about
episode.
how many losses Hisoka had, so we knew he had to win this one in order to actually be able to fight Gon. And we knew that was coming.
Well, and the length to which they exposited about the things
Castro's
that Castro
abilities
was doing as Hisoka is just standing there, clearly not threatened by it.
Yeah, we have no worry about Hisoka being able to actually win the fight. The whole arm thing was pretty legit. Don't get me wrong.
But still, Hisoka didn't seem worried.
Yeah, but then you watch the next episode of that, and when you see Hisoka's little plans and schemes and stuff like that, it does a lot to make the previous episode look better. But it still is wait, this was what I was excited for in the fight.
Right, because with the way that Hisoka is, because he had already established Bungee Gum when he what was it at some point earlier, right?
Yeah,
I think when he fought Gon or something like that, or no, that was later. But we knew that Hisoka's a trickster, so we would have something up his sleeve.
Right.
So then we got it. It was cool and it was great. And then the whole bit with Machi at the end and the taking off of the.
Yes,
the spider tattoo.
Everything surrounding
that was
Hisoka,
great.
everything surrounding Hisoka, really in this arc is fantastic.
Yep.
Again, this is all subtle build-up for the Phantom Troop, which is coming in the next arc, and then when you have Machi finally there, she's probably my favorite, one of my 3 favorite characters in the Phantom Troop for that very reason. I saw someone was asking about our Nen Types. Yeah, we took a test.
He's specialist, I'm manipulator.
Yeah, I'm specialist, he's manipulator. There was something about the way that Hisoka had his own personality test to it that made me also go bananas for the whole power system as well. I'm like, wait. This has nothing to do with...
It's about understanding people.
It's about understanding people. There's a communication and connection thing that's formed within just having people's Hatsus and everything like that. But what are some of your favorite moments in the Heaven's Arena arc? Obviously, the Hisoka and Gon fight is one of the best fights in the entire series.
Right.
It's incredible. It's actually one of the places where they took out all the music. If you go back and watch there's
awesome.
no music playing.
It was great.
It's incredibly fast, well animated. Madhouse just killed it. But what are some of your favorite highlight moments?
Interesting. So the 99 Heaven's Arena was actually shorter than the 2011.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. I wasn't going to assume that the other one would have been any longer, if anything. To be honest, Heaven's Arena is one of the most important parts in Hunter x Hunter, and I'm not talking about just Nen introduction and Hisoka fight, because they were obviously important. The reason is the introduction of a subtly shift that is happening in the background, aka darker tones, slowly dripping in through Hisoka and more Phantom Troop and the darker side of Nen with the purple aura and so much more stuff. I think this arc benefits the most from rewatching. Okay. Interesting.
Cool.
Heaven's Arena is training arc for York New, and Greed Island is training arc for Khmer Antark. Sure.
Yep.
Exactly. Also, Hunter x Hunter alternates fun arc, Heaven's Arena, dark arc, fun arc, dark arc, fun arc, dark arc, question. Nice.
Gotcha.
Bungee gum has the properties of rubber and gum. Bungee gum has the properties of... Nice. Kilowatt catching wheelchair guy while being electrocuted. Yes,
that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Zushi's kidnapping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Because then Kilowatt came in and was like, so, I've acquired a very select set of skills,
Yes.
leave town.
I demand a Nen roleplay podcast. I'm like, wait, is that Star Platinum? Yeah, it is Star Platinum. Okay. Dragon fights the top guy just using Zets for training when he could die. That's true. That was pretty cool. And Killua gets too angry at him. Then Wing comes in and slaps him and says he won't train him. It's so amazing for their character development. And that's right. There was that whole thing of Gon not following his instructions. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really good.
I think Heaven's Arena was also important to develop Gon and Kilowatt's friendship by the time they get to Whale Island. After the arc, they are really good friends. Yes.
That's a good point. That's a part of the
Heaven's Arena arc. That was one of my favorite scenes of the entire series.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic.
When they are back at Whale Island, looking up at the stars, talking by the campfire, is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. It's an incredible part there. Heaven's highlight is the fake explanation of Nen, and then that it's different by Wing. Oh yeah,
that's right.
That seemed to me like something that was kind of...
It seemed a bit much, because since they were introducing something new, doing the switcheroos, fine, but because they were talking about such like big picture concept type stuff, it was still kind of like, okay, I get that there's a difference, but it wasn't totally clear because we hadn't been fully established in the lie, which would have been a bad idea, because that'd be wasted time. But
I see what you're saying. Give Khan, yes, the whole commentary bit. Yeah, it's so good in the shower. Hisoka's reveal of not being a member of the troop after the reveal of him being a member.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
blind.
The double blind, exactly. The U in Zetz feels ignored. Yes. I just recently rewatched the Heaven's Arena arc reactions, and it was fun seeing you guys trying to make sense of Wing's fake explanation of Nen. Oh. Yeah, we really went in depth to things.
I wonder if that fake explanation actually confused us a little bit with some of the stuff that came with Nen later.
Yep. It did. I'll say for me, it definitely did. Okay, so this is getting into one of the arcs that I feel like is, on some levels, it's hard to tell where it begins.
Sure, because they knew they were going to need to go to York New for a while.
Right. So them arriving in York New is like... Because there's the whole thing with how Kurapika suddenly becomes a huge main character. Like, a huge main character here. But there's a very clear ending to the York New arc.
Right.
So...
Even though it's not what we expected.
Yes. The whole things with the York New arc is I feel like you could say, well, once they leave Heaven's Arena, then that arc's over. And I'm like, well, no. There's actually this weird...
Oh, the part of the mansion with Kurapika?
Well, there's just this... I mean, I would say that's part of the York New arc. I'm saying that there's this part in between things in general where Gon and Kilowatt aren't in the York New arc, but Kurapika is. And I think that was when they basically did a really clever way of telling us that Kurapika is the main character of this arc.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was really awesome, because Kurapika could have flopped as a character at this point.
I'm so glad he did.
I'm so glad he didn't. If he had flopped as a character, a whole lot of things would have gone awry.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole arc centered around Kurapika, and Kurapika handled that perfectly. Yes. It was amazing. Yeah. Kurapika, like...
Oh, wait. It's hard to tell where it begins. Well, episode 37 officially. Okay. Which was the episode? I think it was around episode 37. Which was the one where they went all economic? I really liked that episode, and people... It was funny, because I think we were in the comments around that time, but people were saying that...
Economics. Are you talking about the arc where Gon and Kill get the help
Con Man.
No, that's way later.
No, I don't think it is.
No, I'm pretty sure that's like after like Greed Island or something. Or somewhere around there. It's I'm pretty sure it's...
Help me out here, guys. What was the episode... Oh, that's episode 48?
Oh, is that the Zeppeli episode? Oh, okay.
Immediately after the
Uvo fight. That's
gotcha.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so that is not at the beginning. Right. Kurapika in the mansion was more towards the beginning. Exactly.
Where they went all economic. I didn't know Knuckle was that early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so York New, probably one of the greatest things that they brought into HunterxHunter was they brought in a noir thriller, gangster, like... Well, I wouldn't even say like mystery, but like hunting, like the hunted, and the
It was an amazing cat and mouse game on both sides.
Exactly.
Okay. I loved the whole aesthetic of Kurapika's design with the chains and everything, because one, it was just like the realization of the whole, like, clerics are awesome.
Yes.
That I am such a fan of.
Right.
But the way they had the one person going up against opponents that were way better, right? That it's like, you should not mess with these guys. Like, they introduced the whole, the what was it, the dark, like, beasts or whatever it was.
Shadow beasts?
Shadow beasts, yes. The shadow beasts. And it's like, oh, okay, these guys are going to fight the Phantom Troop. Ooh, okay, this will be interesting,
well,
you know. And then Uvogin just kills them all. You know?
There's a whole lot of things that are happening in this arc. This arc was our first arc that was more than 25 episodes. It was a decent chunk of time.
Well, and the thing is, I'm wondering, was it actually more than 25 episodes?
Yeah, I think technically,
if
actually,
it starts
help
on
us
episode
out.
37.
How many episodes are in the?
I mean, it would end at like 62. So
Yeah, so then it was maybe around 25 exactly. Yeah, it has all the best. I would say actually that's a weird thing to bring up. York New has the best action in the series.
yes,
And that is a weird thing to say, because the Chimera Ant arc has some amazing action as well, but actually the action in the Chimera Ant arc is less than the actual, like, huge character moments within it. Like Netero and Meruem, that's an amazing action scene.
58 is the last episode, so
So
York
it's
New is
only
22 episodes.
22. Okay, this
And
is something that blows my mind. If you actually go and I would say it's probably about 4 or 5 episodes into the arc, the pacing starts to just accelerate and it doesn't stop. The whole thing of the what they call it, the Zeppeli episode, yeah, I heard people were saying they didn't like it because it was such a hard, abrupt slowdown from after Uvogin versus Kurapika. But that's something that I would give so much I would say so much leeway to, because of how well they handle the plot just within these 22 episodes.
Right.
That just blows my mind thinking back on it, because I just remember so much happening. And yet that was only 22 episodes.
And if Zeppeli was episode 48, then that means it was almost halfway through the arc, or right about halfway through the arc. So it almost, what it felt like is that it was basically saying, okay, we know that nothing after Uvogin is going to be quite as intense, right? So we're going to have that happen, and then this is going to basically be like a quick breather before we go into the finale of the York New arc.
Yeah, so with this one here, we are introduced to a whole large group of characters. We have the whole thing with the crime families, specifically the Nostrades.
Yep.
We have the whole thing of Kurapika's motivation here with his clan, and having being paired up with a lot of other, Nen users and stuff, and being bodyguards and selected for this mission. That we have the whole Phantom Troop introduction. We have the Shadow Beasts. We have a whole bunch of characters. We have a Lumi in the mix. We have Gon and Kilowatt kind of dancing around the edges of the whole conflict.
And then knowing that Hisoka's there too, and he's got his own agenda, and but okay, but the way they built up Uvogin with the Shadow Beasts, and everything, that was so amazing. That was in my mind the quintessential way to explain what Nen can do and show what Nen can do.
Yes,
and then show how no one is unbeatable, because they did all that with Uvogin, and it really seems like he was unbeatable. And then they have Kurapika face Uvogin and destroy him. And that, oh man, that was so good.
It was really good.
That was so good.
So with this arc, I actually almost want to entirely give this to you guys. Particularly because we need to move along a little bit faster here. But what are some of your highlight moments in this arc that you'd really like us to talk about?
Yeah.
Did you guys realize that HunterxHunter is a shonen crime thriller, isekai, sci-fi, political anime? Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. I missed one up here. It says, was York New Togashi's way of telling us, I can do fast-paced stories, but sometimes I'd rather not. Possibly.
Could totally be. Yeah.
As someone who is really enjoying watching reviews and things, reviews and art itself, is kind of hard to see people rate things differently because of community overhype the opinion of another person. Oh, well but that's the thing. None of us are immune to the influence of our environment. So
right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Melody, best girl. Okay.
Yes,
Melody is probably
fantastic.
one of the best side characters written in Hunter x Hunter, besides Bisky.
Right. Yeah, because when you go past that, then it's side characters that are just upgraded to main characters, like
right,
Meruem
like
and
Hisoka.
Yeah.
Uvagin seemed to have everything in terms of Nen, but then you realize that Nen isn't just enhancement. That is a great point.
Yep.
They chose the simplest Nen category to showcase how terrifying Nen can be.
Right. And in some ways, I almost felt like he was supposed to be like a Dragon Ball Z reference, in that like he even had like the Saiyan kind of hair, and they build him up, and he is badass and insane and amazing and awesome, while the Phantom Troop still has all their villainous virtues and everything. But nope, he gets taken down hard.
Yep.
That was awesome.
The entire Requiem, yes, Lariat, that was amazing.
That was so good.
Neon is the first specialist introduced, and it's the first time we get to see how crazy Nen can get. Yes,
that's true.
That is a great point. When her ability is brought into play, it's something that I would say slows down, like when Krollo steals it. It's something that slows down the pacing of the arc, but then turns it into the mystery thing of them trying to figure out how do they handle this threat to the troop, to the spiders, to their family, essentially. And I love when Krollo is giving the fortunes of everything. That I love.
Anytime
that.
you get into like telling the future and stuff in stories, that can just open up a whole can of worms that can be very tough to handle, but it can also be amazing.
Kuro vs. Ovo is one of my favorite examples of voice acting in the whole series.
Ooh.
Oh, true, yeah.
I'll need to rewatch that one just to enjoy it again.
So good getting Nen blocked. Yes.
Why are we still here?
Just to suffer. Oh, man. Krollo sparing Neon's life, showing he does have empathy. Yes, that's true.
Oh, that's
Krollo is
right.
also being such a badass in disguise and stuff.
Yep.
His whole knocking out of Neon and then like getting spotted by someone else that's got Nen so they could notice it, but then him luring that person into a room where he could use indoor fish on them, which by the way is probably my favorite Nen ability in the entire show. Indoor fish is freaking amazingly cool. Never used again because it's not relevant, but I just love that. It's so great. Oh
yeah. At first we were like, Kurapika and Hisoka are gonna team up and fight Krollo, but then it's like, nope, it's actually Kilowatt's family that does it. Yep.
Yeah, when Zeno and Silva fought Krollo, this was something that again I think built up the world of Hunter x Hunter.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't know who Zeno was. I didn't really. I mean, I knew
like
who
we
he
had,
was,
we had
but
seen him I think once in the.
But he has no
Silva
character
family.
at that point,
Right? Exactly.
He's just a really competent assassin. And Silva, we have the connection to Kilowatt, but when they step onto the stage and Krollo is like, "Okay, we're fighting," and the fight begins, I think it made me believe, because I think this happened before Uvagin and Kurapika.
No, it was after.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was after, because they did the whole Requiem thing and. Yeah.
Okay. I just got to say that the fights in York New gave me so much more hope for Hunter x Hunter being the masterpiece that everyone had built it up to be.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, and then they ended that fight in the same way that Hunter x Hunter likes to end its arcs. The characters don't need to be in conflict anymore.
Yep. Great point. Highlight moment when Gon said because Kurapika is his friend, he doesn't want Kurapika to kill more people.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yep,
it's true. The whole interaction with Zeppeli and mentioning that some really talented people can express some form of Nen usage without knowing. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes. That was incredible world building. Yep, the Requiem, Krollo's minor characterization throughout the arc. Yep, he was never really brought up to, I would say, some of the main characters' levels in terms of characterization, but it was still really good.
Yeah.
And the whole only 20% of my power part.
One of the things I also loved was the arm wrestling. The not with Gon and like Phantom Troop, but
just
Leorio being like,
people.
I know how we can get money. We'll have this 12-year-old arm wrestle people.
Oh man. What mic are we using? It's Audio Technica A2020 USB mic.
I mean, Hisoka's part in the York New arc is just amazing. Like, he's Hisoka, he does his thing, and the fact that he's so closely tied to the enemy of this arc and still has his own agenda is just so amazing.
The scene when Nobunaga gets a phone call from Finks and figures out Gon and Killua are there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, basically, the Gon and Killua breakout plan. Yep, that was great. That was fantastic. I love them just moving in synchronous, like, just movements. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah. The whole fortune thing, you know, and Hisoka just... Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, Hisoka's manipulation of the fortune also to hide his involvement in things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Sometimes I got the feeling that Hisoka just likes walking a razor's edge just because.
Right.
You know.
York New made me realize that not all characters are fighters. There are support intels like Paku, Shalnark, and Shizuku.
Yep.
Yep. And in some ways, I feel like Shalnark is still one of the most underratedly overpowered characters in the...
Controlling other people, multiple people, at once. What happens if he gets people that can use Nen? What then?
Yep. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Crollo stealing and not copying was so good. Yeah, that was an amazing meme. Yeah.
Gon and Killua meeting Finks and Feitan just by chance at the auction.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I want you guys to talk about the Crollo, Fortunes, and Kurapika whole car talk with Crollo and forced to leave Crollo. What? This is a really weird run-on sentence. Gon's talk with Nobunaga and further characterization of Gon's almost hypocritical morality.
Well, that I feel like comes to... Yeah, okay, the whole Gon's hypocritical morality of being so like, oh, you know, killing people and all that stuff, yet he didn't seem to care, you know, before and everything, and yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think we discussed specifically because Gon was reacting emotionally because it has to do with his friends. And that's something that is a typical kind of thing with regards to the power of friendship protagonist, but it was something that we kind of looked at and went, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's extra contrast for how Gon had been set up till that point.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things regarding the Phantom Troop, obviously.
We don't need to talk about how awesome the Phantom Troop are. That's self-explanatory.
Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Like, y'all know the Phantom Troop are amazing.
Villainous virtues. You know, a villainous group that's a family. Yeah, it's awesome.
Leoro talking loudly on the phone to inform Gon and Killua of Kurapika's plan to kidnap Crollo. That was hilarious.
That was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. Oh, and Kurapika and they reunite and they think that the troop is dead and has no purpose for his rage anymore. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That was awesome.
Oh, that was great. Yeah. Oh man. One of the greatest aspects of showcasing the York New arc was that HunterxHunter is just about people who meet in conflict. Not good versus evil. Everyone has logical motives and emotion. Yep.
I would argue that the Phantom Troop is pretty evil. They kill a lot of people without it bothering them much and stuff. But yes, they are still people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is a very clear also point to make in that the Phantom Troop are real people because certain ones of the Phantom Troop behave more, I would say, morally, ethically towards the, certain side of...
Yeah, they're not all of the same morality.
Yes, exactly. If you were to throw the Phantom Troop on the 3x3, lawful, chaotic, good, evil...
I don't think there'd be any lawful goods on there.
No lawful goods, but
just
not all of them would be, on just the chaotic, neutral or chaotic,
evil or
side
whatever
of things.
stuff.
Like, in fact, very few of them, I would say, would be chaotic.
Oh,
evil.
yeah. Pakunoda wanted to thank you.
Yeah.
That was...
There were a lot of good feels in this arc, and I think...
Oh, boy.
I think this arc was probably one of the most hype of just all the arcs. I'd say Chimera definitely kicked the pants off in terms of feels, but there were some really good feel moments in this arc as a whole.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And also, it was probably one of the ones that had the most brainiac kind of like high-level planning taking place that we would probably benefit from a lot of rewatch value.
And one of the things that I have to say about the York New arc is that HunterxHunter likes to do a lot of the brainiac complex stuff. But it was so streamlined in the York New Arc. Like, sometimes in Hunter x Hunter, it felt like things would become too complicated.
Right.
Because
concept goes high, execution starts to degrade.
Right, because they Togashi values so much the whole idea of the complex systems and the doing what you don't expect, kind of a thing. But in the York New Arc, it was
extremely good execution.
Yeah.
And I think that this is another thing to bring up. We like the York New Arc in some ways because it contrasts so dramatically the high level of execution displayed in the story comparatively to the rest of Hunter x Hunter. Up until this point.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
You can really tell that Togashi came into his own by writing a story that has high-level concepts in it, but is done in such a way that is completely aligned within the characters' motivations that are brought in there. There are some weird kind of one-off little conflicts that happen within it, but overall it's probably one of the tightest, well-written sections of the Hunter x Hunter story. So.
Gon being invited to join the Phantom Troop was awesome. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I so wish that this was a tabletop RPG, because if I was the person controlling Gon's character, I would absolutely he'll join the Phantom Troop. Sorry, PCs, I'm joining another group.
Breaking character? What? No, I mean, sure,
I find a way to make it work.
I'll get slapped around by the GM a little bit, but whatever.
The Phantom Troop.
So that's probably the thing I think that is another good thing to bring up is what Geralt of Rivia is saying there, is that York New probably has the least discovery writing in it, and that's something that I think is actually probably a good point to bring up.
And that's probably why it feels so refined, is because the fat's been trimmed away. Yeah.
Right. And to be fair, this is something that makes a lot of the character slow, lingering moments be almost like completely removed from the actual plot, because it's dealing with Kurapika's character. And this is the thing. Kurapika has been built up to be basically the contained and self-controlled revenge edgelord in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Like his character is one that we've seen, just in more recent stories, plenty of times.
Oh yeah,
plenty of times. But that's not to say that Kurapika was a two-dimensional character,
right? Just some stereotype or whatever.
But the kind of plot that revolves around his character wouldn't be one filled with lingering moments. He is doing things. He's moving. He's happening.
Yep.
And that's something that is kind of cool. And I respect Hunter x Hunter for doing this. When he's done, he's done. He did his thing. He did what he needed to do.
Yep.
He moved on with his life and probably continued, working, with the Nostrades, but no,
right.
Like
wearing a suit because, of course, he wears it very well, and why wouldn't he?
But I liked that they essentially had him die by leaving the story in that regard. He's still around, obviously. Kurapika's still an awesome character and things like that. But the way he left the arc was done really well. Yeah. So we're getting into Greed Island. Greed Island. I would say the arc that I think people were surprised by how much we liked it.
Sure, because
I had heard from people like mods and stuff telling me they're like, wow, they were really like surprised that you liked that part so much. This is the arc that come at things with a grain of salt. It's not really the most popular arc in the series. And I was like, oh, well,
it's one of those things where it's like it definitely has its problems, but the things it does well, it does quite well.
Can we talk about how Bisky is one of the best things to happen to Hunter x Hunter?
Bisky, if Bisky did not exist, well, that's a dark world.
We don't live in that world line, so we don't have to imagine it.
Yeah.
Bisky is something that I would say carried about 30% of Greed Island.
30% of Hunter x Hunter.
Freudian slip there. Yeah. No, Greed Island was made because of not only the way that she taught, but the character that she had.
Yeah.
Look at Wing and look at Bisky. Now look at Wing. Now look at Bisky.
Nothing against Wing.
Nothing against Wing.
But Bisky.
But Bisky.
Yeah.
Like, there's no contest. I'm sorry. I think that this was a very, a real capitalization on Togashi's part to say, I don't have to do the teaching method of Wing again here. I can have Bisky essentially do everything with her teaching methods by actually like spending time on this as a training arc.
You know, it's one of the other things that I think it's kind of like a yin-yang thing of why we love Bisky so much, is because when she was teaching Gon and Killua, it was her and Gon and Killua.
Yep.
That's all it was.
That's all it was.
They kept it very simple. They were completely removed from the actual plot of the Greed Island arc, right? And that's kind of the biggest weakness of the Greed Island arc, is that the main character is removed from the plot of the arc until like the very end, right? But because they did that, any time that we spent with Gon and Killua, our main characters, that was absolutely amazing, because it was focused on the training, which is cool because it's, you know, unveiling more of the world of Nen and how it works, but it's also getting into them as characters, right?
Yeah.
We can have those intimate moments with them because there's just the three people, other than, you know, the one time when Bisky gets the guy with the scissors or whatever to train them. And that's a really sad little mini story that they, you know, just threw in there because why not?
Wally, you're exactly right. So when Bisky was first introduced, we were not happy. We were worried that this was going to be a very generic, specific, annoying lolly type character. But no. Within a couple episodes of her actually interacting with them, because remember, she was stalking them for a little bit. We loved her. We loved her. And I gotta say, like, the whole thing about the Greed Island arc is there's some very clear, separate mini plots that happened within the Greed Island arc. Because remember, Hisoka comes in, like, way later.
Yeah.
And the bomber and all that gets kind of built up a little bit. But when he starts actually making his move with his two other guys, it's way later. Like, there's a whole bunch of episodes that happen before that.
And even after that, there's a part where they just sort of, like, leave the whole thing with the bomber to the side for a while.
Yeah. So when Greed Island happens, it's something that you can tell Togashi had always wanted to do.
Yeah, like, this was the arc where it's like, hey, whatever. I know that there's this story that we're going to be doing, but I'm just going to take a little break because there's this thing that I've always wanted to do. And I made Nen, and it was great, and it's fun, and it's awesome. But what if I made a power system and then another power system, and you used them both at the same time?
It was something where you could tell Togashi was confident enough that he could introduce this setting for the plot and the conflict, incorporate Jing very well into it, and I might add the whole idea that Jing is this mystery like thing behind Greed Island over the course of the whole arc is like, wait, what was Jing's involvement here? He won, like, he actually was the only person to win the game or something like that.
And then it's like, no, he helped make it.
He helped make it. Like, that reveal that...
Or wait, no. Didn't they know that he made it the whole time?
Did they know?
Yeah, and then Gon was saying, like, no, I want to enjoy this game that my dad made. Yeah.
Okay. Was that it, guys? Because I forgot, I guess. Did Jing... Was it revealed that Jing had helped make the game Greed Island before they actually made it into Greed Island? Because it probably was, but I just don't remember.
Okay, yeah.
They did? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So they're going in there. Right. That again, that helps it. That helps
it. Because then you have a personal attachment to the world that you're setting up. And the world that they set up of Greed Island was fantastic, right? The problem that we have with Greed Island is not Greed Island itself. It's just, you know, the fact that Genthru and Gon were so separated for so much of it that it's like, oh, okay, you know, we would have liked more direct interaction there. But, like, that was awesome. Because, I mean, think about it. They had already set up Nen. This big system. They could do a lot with that system. And then they're like, we're going to introduce another one. That could have felt very excessive. And just like, okay, come on, settle down now. Let's do more with this system first.
Right.
But because they attached it to Gon's dad,
yeah.
We're all on board.
Oh, okay. People are saying no. It's only once they entered the game it was revealed. That's right. Then the big twist was that, you know, that the actual thing wasn't a game. It was in the real world. It's that the cards, the systems within it, those were all designed by Jing and his buddies and stuff. So that whole thing is really cool because there's this idea of legacy in Hunter x Hunter that's very much in the background. It's not ever like shoved in our faces. There's this very real thing to show that Gon gains everything himself. This is not something that was just left to him by his father. His father didn't because he had the bloodline of Jing, he was a very strong hunter. So there's nothing with that. But what they do show is that Jing left a breadcrumb trail, essentially. In the form of kind of a legacy type storyline for Gon to follow. But Gon had to take up the challenge in order to actually follow it. It wasn't something that it was destined. There wasn't any fate involved here. Gon could have simply said, no, screw off, Dad. I don't care. And he would have never experienced all these great things that Jing essentially had kind of left for him. Not
what
really,
would have happened if Gon had just been like, Jing, you're a terrible father. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm going to just do whatever on my own. I don't know. He probably wouldn't even have taken
Well, just the idea that he becomes a hunter, and he ends up hearing maybe some things about his dad and stuff, and he just is like, yeah, I get that. And I respect that maybe he was like that, but he doesn't try to actually go find his dad. That's something that I'm really glad they didn't do in Hunter x Hunter. So Greed Island has, multiple kind of segments of the plot and stuff, but once they get into kind of the, I would say, the high intensity of it with, realizing that this is in the real world, that they can leave and come back and stuff, the Phantom Troop gets involved. It then becomes, I would say, kind of a cluster, whatever, of just a whole bunch of things happening. And this is probably the one, kind of weakness of the arc is really just the way they built up Genthru and the bombers, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But then they take a break from that and they're like, okay, yeah, well, that'll be happening, but in the meantime, let's bring back Ahsoka and the Phantom Troop.
And then
as necessary.
Yeah, and then they go and introduce Razor, then they bring up the whole...
That whole bit was awesome.
Yeah, the idea of having a character that basically tells the Phantom Troop to piss off, and they're just like, fine. They just leave. That was so funny that I can just remember the feelings I had of just being like, oh, okay, that was really good. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gon
sacrificing his arm was amazing. The whole end fight with the build-up for Genthru wasn't good, but
the actual fight was amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, it was so good.
The fight between Genthru and Gon, and the actual smackdowns of the other two guys who we just really cared nothing about. Those were hilarious because we could see yo-yos with Kurapika's Nen and stuff.
Wait,
did I say Kurapika? I meant to say Kilowatt. Jeez, why did I keep doing that? The names, guys, it's just so many names.
Best part was
Bisky's reveal of being actually a JoJo character and not a
that's right,
a lolly girl. That was hilarious.
Best part was not remembering Razor was introduced already until the middle of the dodgeball fight. To be fair, it was dark, but yeah.
So, okay, let's go through. What are some of your guys' highlights of the Greed Island arc? Because a lot of the Greed Island arc, I gotta say, I enjoyed what it made me feel like, but the main weakness of it, I just feel is you really do forget a lot of the things that actually happened in it, because it was a decent length, but it had a lot of stuff in it that's Gon got a necklace. Do you guys remember that? Gon got a necklace that wards off specific curses or something. It's that was just a thing that happened.
Right. It's
the many things that happened within the arc.
Billionaire backstory.
Bisky, Nen power development, Greed, Island, world building, Razor, dodgeball match, more Hisoka. Worst parts of me, I hate the card system since it's a one and done deal and too much mechanics to it. Yeah, seriously.
Too much mechanics for a one-time arc. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You thought it was a lolly, but it was me, Bisky. Volleyball match, definitely. The volleyball match was hilarious. We were, I think, going through Haikyuu at the time.
I believe so.
Yeah, which made it extra funny. Wait, what was that? Billionaire backstory, gotcha, yep.
Paladin's necklace, yeah. Shouldn't Leorio have gotten that?
I like Greed Island, but a lot of the side characters were a bit dry.
Yes.
The backstory for the guy that hired them all was pretty nice. Yes.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Sesgura was fine. But, But yeah.
But, nothing to write home about.
Nothing to write home about, yeah. The comedy during this arc was high quality. Yes, there were some amazing comedy moments, for
like
sure.
Like the bad luck die or whatever it was, that was great.
Yeah.
And I love that it was a D20. That was just awesome.
Best part is when they when they finished digging a tunnel and Bisky said, "Now let's dig back."
Yeah. and because of how they had set up Bisky, it's like she's gonna say that. You know, like
Yep. Yeah, one of the most powerful Killua Gon moments was when Gon refused to punch the dodgeball without having Killua holding it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right, because he doesn't trust anyone but him to be able to do it perfectly. Razor beating the crap out of the Phantom Troop going in from the beach side was hilarious.
Like
now, to be fair, he doesn't actually fight them.
Right.
He just throws
and then
a
teleports them back.
And it sends them back.
That felt like basically when the players have something and they're like, okay, we're gonna bust the rules of the game. We have this build and it's busted and we're gonna do something that's gonna be awesome. And then the DM's like, yeah, no, a god appears and just sends you away. It's like, really, come on, man.
Right.
Kill was weird cat face when rolling the dice.
Yes. Hisoka joining the party and Killua deducing Hisoka's true goal. Yes. Killua clearing the Hunter exam instantly was pretty cool. That's right.
And that
was a thing.
And the fact that we got to see Tonpa again, like that was awesome.
It's just like, not again.
Yeah.
Killua knocks out every single one of them. All right, so I'm the only competitor, so I automatically get in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Give me my license so I can go back. That was a hilarious subversion. Wait. Love the dodgeball match. Togashi was actually planning to do a sports series with homosexual and cross-dressing characters, but Weekly Shonen Jump thought readers probably wouldn't enjoy it, and Togashi himself realized it probably wouldn't be successful. Oh, wow.
That's a very different style than HunterxHunter.
Can we talk about that one card that can give you mini dinosaurs? See, that's the thing. Like,
I don't even remember that.
Stuff like that probably happened, and it's just not, this arc was probably especially a passion project for Togashi. Yep. And the thing is that that's not necessarily something that's very enjoyable.
Killua Gon Hisoka teamwork.
Yes. All the pelvises like stuck to each other in very specific order. Benolt was very impressive. Character I didn't care about at all was made very compelling in a minute-long flashback. That's how side characters should be treated.
Benolt was the scissors guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and again, it's like Togashi does such an amazing job with the side characters, like even well, that's Chimera Antark stuff, but yeah.
Hisoka's bath scene. Don't forget about that. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Razor's backstory was great. Bomb Boy is the worst main villain in HunterxHunter. He ain't compelling at all, and to have Hisoka and the Phantom Troop right there makes it even more noticeable. Well, it's something that
like a crutch kind of a thing.
It's something that there was a lot of things that were introduced in Greed Island that could have not been put in. And they could have given him... Remember how you said it took 1 minute to develop Benolt's character?
Yep.
Oh my god. What if they spent 10 minutes on... Genthru's character a little bit more. And the thing
is, they still did some good stuff with Genthru's character at the end after he fought Gon and all that stuff, and he was worried about his buddies.
Yep.
But if they had done that, say, at the beginning...
Right.
Then we would have cared about them all throughout, and they could have shown more of that throughout.
Right.
That's one of the things where I wonder if that's an aspect of the discovery-based storytelling, is that Togashi doesn't actually know that he's going to do stuff like this, and then he's like, oh yeah, that's right. I need to fit this in here, so then I'll fit it in there, but it's not necessarily like timed in the best way possible,
I think that also you could have had the entire Greed Island arc go through without actually having a main villain. This is another thing that I actually wanted to put out there as a tinfoil hat thing. I wonder if actually the editors made Genthru be a thing.
I would not be surprised at all.
And it's not actually Togashi. Like that was just something that, just was we need a main villain for Gon to fight.
It's like,
and we get an amazingly animated, amazingly designed, clever fight utilizing the card mechanics, utilizing Nen, everything that Gon's learned up until this point.
Yep.
And, of course, having some hype, like, sacrifices on Gon's part with his arms and things
Tonpa
like that.
foreshadowing. Tonpa had mercy on Killua since he wanted to see his disciple grow. I feel like Tonpa is like the Jar Jar Binks of Hunter x Hunter. It's like, oh, yes, he's secretly
the Sith Lord, you know? Exactly. Oh, Kaluto joining the Phantom Troop. Yeah, that was a small little thing there. But, yeah, that was a cool bit, yeah. This KX Hisoka moment, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so guys, we have to talk about the behemoth in the room regarding Hunter x Hunter.
The Chimera Ant arc.
The Chimera Ant arc.
Oh, yeah, dang, I should have said, yeah, that's right. The election arc.
This is the arc in Hunter x Hunter that specifically, I would say, is the reason why Hunter x Hunter is being talked about still to this day. Now, let's examine what that statement, I'd say, kind of means, because yeah, the election arc. No, the Chimera Ant arc is, I would say, a monument in storytelling. Now that we've finished it, we can see why it's lauded as one of the greatest arcs in shonen, one of the greatest, pieces of storytelling in in anime. But one of the things that I had, this structurally helps me review the Chimera Ant arc, is the whole story goes on a parallel journey for the Chimera Ants, like the queen, and then our characters. And there's a very clear dual story going on throughout the entire thing, from the beginning till the end. Even, like all the way post, Kamugi and Meruem dying. Like, they still, like, have moments specifically where the Chimera Ants are getting their own kind of story separate from that.
The Chimera Ants as, like, a people?
As a people, yes. And this is something that is very cool. They actually give huge characterization to Chimera Ants that aren't even, like, big characters in the grand scheme of things.
Not even really important. Like,
right. Like it's crazy to think of. I think you especially caught on to, like, Colt as a character is one that you caught on to, like, so much.
Well, Colt was fantastic. And by the way, when we're going to be talking about this, we're going to be talking about it split up between the...
Right, but I haven't even gotten to that yet. I was just basically saying that they structured it with kind of two storylines moving in parallel with each other. And we have characters within that Chimera Ant only kind of story, like Colt, who really never really interact with a lot of the main characters of the human side of things until, like, specific moments when the queen's dying. And his character that he got, like, his characterization that he got in it is, like, beyond most of all the characters in the entire Chimera Ant arc. Like,
well, but again, so we're going to be talking about the Chimera Ant arc in two separate parts.
Right.
We're going to be talking about the part where the queen is there, and basically pre-king and post-king, before king and in the year of our king. Oh yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the video. But
yes, this is a big segment of story. It requires, I would say, two focuses to kind of look at it here.
Right.
So we get the whole teleporting thing to Kite.
Yep.
Kite is a character that many people were very much wanting to make sure that we understood that he was in the story in the 1999 version, way early on.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I ended up going back and watching the first episode. I didn't go and watch any more, just for clarification there. But what is cool there, though, is I still think that Kite's involvement meant a lot, even though he was just introduced in the 2011 version.
Right, because he's the representation of Jing, basically. He's the closest thing that Gon has to Jing at this point.
Yeah. And he's also someone that was trained specifically by Jing and has talked with Jing. This is something Gon hasn't even done. Like,
yeah, he basically became a substitute for Jing in the short time that Gon knew him.
Right. And that wasn't delved into that deeply. Like, there wasn't that much actual time delving into us understanding that was... You have a thing going on, Jacob.
Yeah.
Turn off all electronics on Twitch. There's a little thing there. So, when Kite's introduced, he's extremely competent. He's a hunter. He's someone that we've, kind of been expecting some character like this to be introduced in the story.
Right, because we thought
post-Bisky.
Right.
And then we have Kite, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm watching after this species.
Right. Which immediately is like, just talking about it's like, hold on, okay, humanity is done for. Like, it's all over. Yeah, it's all over now.
The minute they brought up the idea that one of these chimera ants had broken,
broken free of the habitat and was not just a tiny little ant, but was a big thing that was like pulling fish out of the water and eating them.
Yep.
Yeah. That. Yeah.
I gotta say that this is in some ways, if you think about how Greed Island was Heaven's Arena done better, Chimera Antark is the passion project of what kind of Greed Island represent, but done like almost perfectly. Because the idea of the Chimera Antark, when you look at it as a whole,
of setting up a whole separate world, basically, that you then do stuff with in the context of the story and everything. Yep.
It is something brilliant, because even back early on, we realized how many stories about humanity you can tell with this kind of a premise. Like having the story be about exploring certain aspects of humanity, and little did we know how much they were going to do that, and especially in the second half. So the first half, you think back on it, and there's not actually as many highlights as there are in the second half. The second half dramatically is, at least for me, way more enjoyable. Way more enjoyable than the first half. And this is despite, as many people were worried about us not liking, the narrator problem, which I actually didn't see as much of a problem in that part as, like, I think people were expecting us to.
Yeah, and, like, I still really enjoyed the whole arc with the Queen and everything. I know you guys were worried that we would think it was, like, way too slow and stuff like that, and I'm very glad that we didn't watch the opening for all that time, because that way we would know, like, oh, okay, how long is it going to spend with the Queen and things like that.
Yep.
Because it really did feel like its own arc, and it handled it very well. The way we got to see the Chimera ants evolve and grow as a species, and their interactions between each other form and all that stuff, it was excellent.
But there were some really big character development moments, though, for both Gon and Kilowatt in this arc, this first half of the Chimera Ant arc. We have specifically Gon's moments with Knuckle and the whole fight there. We have Kilowatt's fight, with Redmond. Do you remember when Killua removes the needle?
Yeah.
That part was probably one of my favorite Killua moments.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Of them all.
And the way... What was it? What part of him did he have? Was it was he grabbing him? Was he grabbing him by the head? Or...
Oh wait, he just took off Redmond's head.
Yeah. Oh okay, yeah, he just took off Redmond's head. Yeah, that's right.
Just done.
Yep, and it's just one and done. Yeah, and it's crazy because like all the stuff that happened in the pre-Meruem arc, right? Right. Like with all the Chimera ants that they dealt with in like before even Neferpito showed up, right? I didn't really care about them as much, and it's like, oh, okay, they're fighting these people, but because they hadn't introduced the other characters that they would be fighting, it didn't feel like an obvious delay, right? They had talked about them, the Royal Guard and King and all that stuff, but we hadn't actually seen them, right? So that the fact they might just be fighting Redmond or whatever, it was like, okay, yeah, yep, cool, awesome, yeah. And then of course the second fight with Redmond was just amazing.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Okay, so we have all the human parts that are happening in this storyline too. We have the introduction of Morel. Shoot. We have basically the responders, who basically the people that Kite reports to and lets the Hunter Association know this is a problem. This is a really big problem. But I like, because Gon and Killua proved themselves to Kite, they get to go on this special mission with Kite. That whole mission of them entering into enemy territory.
Yep.
And this is, guys, we just jumped ahead. We know, like, this is way later in the first half, so to speak. But that is the best part of the whole first half.
Right. Like the stuff before that was good. Yeah. But it's, in the long term, other than like Colt, it's kind of forgettable and definitely pales in comparison to once the Royal Guard show up and the whole thing with Kite and Gon and Killua going into enemy territory.
Yep.
Yeah, because you really did feel terrified. Like I certainly did, that they could die. Like this is bad. They're going into dangerous waters here. Like and yeah, I think it might be just because of how Nen was introduced and the way the Chimera Ants were introduced as just being this terrifying force. Because the idea of the good guys invading enemy territory is not exactly something new for shonen. And I never was ever worried about that in any of the other shonen that I've seen, which granted isn't much, but
protagonists have a lot of plot armor in
exactly
other shonen.
And we still knew that, like, Gon and Killua have plot armor. They're not going to die, right? The story's about them, but still.
Yeah. So with this first half, there were a lot of things in it with introducing new characters that were really well done, really cool designs, really compelling, but also exploring Chimera Ant society in a way that was actually engaging. This is something that's, again, very hard to do. This is very hard to do. In fantasy, one of the struggles that you have when writing any kind of fantasy race or species or what have you is that you have to make them feel like an actual separate thing from humans. And that's something that most fantasies don't even do.
Well,
they just make them pseudo-humans with like a one horn or something, or like that just one random characteristic is different, but their actual culture, society is never actually engaging, or it's so similar to humans that it's not even really feeling like they're a different species or something.
And the way they went through the discovery of the Chimera Ants, coming across all these different ideas and concepts and things, and how they grew similar to humans is really great, because it's basically showing Togashi's discovery-based storytelling really just flexing on us, because he's like, okay, cool. So now that I have this, have a new race, new people entirely. They have to discover everything. Cool. Awesome. I'm going to take them through that process. And then, of course, there's the Nen with Pokle and Neferpito and all that. And little surgery thing that went on there, and which was crazy.
But all of this is done in the context that these are beings that got these characteristics because they ingested humans. And we're constantly thinking about that in the back of our minds. And the fact that HunterxHunter ends up delivering on that whole premise in a thematic way, with exploring not just what the Chimera Ants are, but what humanity is, I think is what makes the Chimera Ant arc a truly masterpiece level storytelling piece right there. It is very easy, though, to separate a lot of that into the second half because of the introduction of Kamugi's character and Meruem. But if you look at what they do with Colt in the beginning as well,
that was showcasing
that, you know,
what they were going to be doing.
They were going to be doing. So it all fits in rather well. But we want to hear, what are some of your favorite highlight moments from the first half?
Someone mentioned the part where Remot gets the dreams of being king and all that stuff, and then Neferpito emerges, and that whole scene of him just being like, yes, right.
That part was equally chilling and hilarious. I don't remember how we reacted to that initially, but it was something that
I think we was like,
I think we were just like, oh, buddy, because we didn't like Remot. Remot was we had seen his type before, and we were kind of excited for him to get kind of overshadowed by just greater
and it was
characters.
A great way to just show rather than tell this new breed, right? That was Neferpito and the rest of the Royal Guard.
Highlight of the first half is Nav's contradiction, saying in episode 85, when people encounter the unknown, they tend to lose perspective.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
Yeah. So true. Good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The heads will roll episode. Nice. Yes.
My most favorite will always be Gone. You are light.
That part after Kite had died. Yes, that was amazing. Kite's whole death and encounter with Neferpito was insanely high on our our list as well of top moments as well.
I always wished, though, that Kite would have gotten like an actual good role.
Yes, we were all worried, or all hoping for him to actually get a good role, but no such luck there. RNG is cruel mistress. My favorite moment in the first half was Meruem's whole introduction. It prepared us for the roller coaster of development that was to come.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of part 2 in our minds, but okay.
Remember when y'all thought Gon, Killa, and Kite versus the 3 royal guards?
That's true.
Just like how we thought that the Chimera Ant arc was going to be a slow transition, or a short transition arc.
One of our buddies on Discord memed us for it. He was like, hey, that moment when it was like us bros think that the arc will be a slight transition arc, like 4 to 7 episodes, and then he shows the scene from the one movie,
The Hangover.
I think it's just like, oh
Yeah.
Chitu's death has to be the most satisfying death in Hunter x Hunter. That was pretty funny.
It definitely was satisfying.
Visually, Netero saying he'll have to sacrifice someone. Oh, that part where they cut everything into different scenes there. I don't know if that was in the first half, though.
Yeah. Chitu's death was definitely in the second half.
First half highlights: Gyro, Ramok characterization, Pito introduction, Kite dying, Knuckle introduction. Yes, Knuckle. I loved. I gotta say, I personally am so glad that I latched onto Knuckle so quickly because the minute they showed his hairstyle, his voice acting, and his appreciation of dogs and puppies, I'm like, yep, best boy.
Doesn't Caleb mean
dog? My name means dog. Yeah. So that also helps.
So
as well.
of course you would like Knuckle. Yeah.
Bisky telling Kilowatt to leave.
Yep, that was really good. That was really.
Oh, that was really good.
Yep.
Meruem's introduction.
Colt taking the baby. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Morel telling Colt he's gonna protect them. Yeah. Morel, in a lot of ways, is also one of the underrated MVPs of the whole Chimera Ant arc.
Yeah.
He has a leadership quality about him.
Yep.
That is pervasive throughout every scene he's in. The way he reminds the boys even after the whole thing, about the power of Pito and stuff. They're like, strength doesn't win a fight. Just it's about clever tactics and thinking on your feet.
Right. And it's funny because when they were introduced, I figured for some reason that Morel and Nov would be very similar.
Right.
Even though their designs were completely opposite.
Completely opposite.
The things that they said were completely opposite.
Yep.
But yeah. Gyro's backstory. Yeah, that was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
The characterization of Leol Hagia was really interesting to me.
Yeah, it was like he had his own little thing that he was trying to do. Didn't work very well. The interview was hilarious. Blah, 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 proof, whatever. Oh, sure.
Right. Scariest part where everything changed was a Chimera Ant shooting Ponzu and Poke getting captured. It was so brutal and real. Yes.
Chimera Ants having guns and things like that. Yeah,
that was terrifying.
The koala Chimera Ant, even though it was kind of strange when they ended up giving him backstory at the end.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite Chimera Ants early on, pre Royal Guard, just because of the whole idea. His design was awesome.
He did get a good role. It literally reincarnated him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Remember that after Gon and Killa escaped from NGL, they talked with Spinner about her hometown. In her hometown, there was a species of swans that was going to be brought to extinction by mining works, but Kite bought the whole area to stop the mining. She promises Gon to take him there after the whole thing with the Chimera Ants is over. Well, those are the swans shown in episode 148 in the final montage.
So does that mean that 148 is technically the final episode of the Chimera Ant arc?
Manny. One of these people might need to be sacrificed. Netero is in front, that cheeky bastard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Another highlight of the first half is Colt crying over the Queen's death. Yep. Yeah, the Queen's death was surprisingly emotional because
we cared about Knuckle.
We cared about Knuckle? Wait, what?
No, Colt.
Yeah.
We cared about something else. Someone said the fact that Knuckle and Onizuka have the same.
We cared about Colt, and we cared about why his character seemed to be struggling with his humanity part of him. He was becoming more human than Chimera Ant. And then when the Queen dies, she represented, I would say, the last true Chimera Ant in that respect. Everyone from that point on was touched with humanity to the point that they couldn't be called just a Chimera Ant. They would be Chimera Ant human hybrids.
Right.
And that's really cool because symbolically it kind of shows where the story will be going for the Chimera Ants as a whole. It's a new time. And I think even at that point we were thinking, okay, how will this be solved? Like, we started talking about theoretical ideas as to, okay, now that we have a portion of chimera ants that are siding with the humans, and the humans are going to be nice to them and going to treat them right, we could find some kind of diplomatic way to resolve things
without just nuking everything.
Which is funny, because I think we did talk about pretty quickly, because of the idea of the chimera ants being treated as an infestation. We're like,
oh yeah, once they brought
we've
the whole
seen
thing,
we've seen those dumb sci-fis where they just
I think
nuke the planet for more. Game over, man.
Well,
Game over.
I'm pretty sure that it was like the first episode when the queen was introduced and was eating the fish, or like a few episodes after that, we were like, so it'll have to be nukes, right? Like, you know, like
in some ways, I remember people talking to me being like, yeah, the whole thing that you guys like jumped specifically to nukes just seemed so American. And I was like, ow, wow, I mean that's kind of,
if you have a situation like that and it's on an island and everything, you know,
Jacob, there were a lot of people on those
I know,
islands.
but if you're talking about all of humanity being wiped out, you know?
It's just funny that we would jump specifically to nukes. You know, it is pretty funny.
Well, if
Knuckle economic class,
yes,
Chapter 7 bankruptcy,
compound interest, and
kids, compound interest. Look it up.
Have it work for you, not against you.
It is the eighth wonder of the world, like
or the eighth, you know, terror of the world, or whatever.
Seriously, compound interest. Don't know about underrated. Basically, everyone agrees that he's the MVP. Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Who were we saying was
talking
underrated?
about Morel.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so I feel like we're going a little bit too fast, but Big Hat is the queen dying and saying Mera means light, in hindsight means so much. Because Gon is light. And the whole parallels of Gon and Merum's character in the second half. Okay, second half. Guys, a lot of people have asked, what's your favorite arc in Hunter x Hunter? And here's the thing. I have to cheat with this answer here.
Yeah.
I can't decide between... Well, no, I can, but I don't want to. Basically to say whether or not I like York New or the Chimera Ant arc more. The second half of the Chimera Ant arc, I like more than all of York New. But if I was to take all of the Chimera Ant arc and put it against York New, I would almost call it an unfair fight, because York New is so much shorter, which gives it, in my opinion, a lot more of an advantage. So I would say, yes, the Chimera Ant arc's ending, because this is the thing. Up until this point in the story, my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter was Gon and Kilowatt's relationship.
Yep.
What did they do in the second half of the Chimera Ant arc? They introduced a new relationship. What was the best thing about the Chimera Ant arc? Meruem and Komugi.
Yep.
What is that?
Yep.
A relationship.
Exactly. The interaction between two characters. Yeah.
And the themes that they built around that really tells you that, like, in some ways, we talked about this, we actually think that Tagashi used a form of a self-insert to bring himself into Komugi's character in a way to have, because Komugi represents humanity.
Right, exactly.
And not just humanity, in some ways, the part of humanity that focuses so dedicatedly on their passion, but is ultimately just a weak... frail human that
Komugi is the best of humanity, and we're about to have a whole bunch of examples of the worst of humanity, right? Not just that, but with things like, say, Netero, that how savage and crazy humanity can be, and with Gon and things like that. But then Komugi is kind of like the example of the everyman.
Yeah.
In that you don't have to be some crazy fighter that is some super badass or whatever, right? You can be someone who's just living their life, and they don't even realize that something absolutely extraordinary is happening, but they are having a profound impact on the king's fate, right?
Yeah.
And the whole future of the human race is shifted just because you existed and were yourself. And who wouldn't want to be Komugi in that sense?
Yeah. I always thought Tagashi represented himself as Jing, but Komugi might be a better comparison. So I think that, yes, probably in some ways Jing was meant to be his comparison, but that's easy to do because Jing isn't in the story, really. So yeah. But I really, yeah. But I really do think you look at Komugi, and not only what her character represents, but what her character actually does, and it's really actually cool because you can tell who's the most important character in a story. because all the other characters comment on them.
Oh.
Guess which character, which is the most probably the most complex of the Royal Guard, and probably the most talkative of the Royal Guard.
Oh yeah, I mean, okay.
Spends all of his time commenting.
We know
on.
it's Poof. Yeah.
Yeah. Kamugi's character, and specifically the way Kamugi and Meruem interact in the story, takes HunterxHunter, and specifically the Chimera Ant arc, to something that is god tier level masterpiece. Yeah. So, we can't really go into a shallow discussion of all this stuff. If anything, guys, this is us kind of telling you, we'll probably do another podcast at some point just talking about like the best things of the Chimera Ant arc.
Now that we're done with HunterxHunter, we can take what HunterxHunter did and all the things that we loved about it and talk about it whenever we talk about other things in stories. And we can use it as a part of our toolbox to be like, okay, so Meruem and Kamugi, you know how that they did that, right? And how awesome that is. Okay, here's how it applies to this other thing.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what are you talking about? Tagashi's self-insert is Dune. Have you not seen both of their rooms? It's funny. Yeah, we saw that picture. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so Meruem's introduced. I will say, Meruem's character was one of the most overpowered, ridiculously untouchable, invincible characters in the entire story, and we loved it.
How do you go after him? You attack his heart. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And it wasn't even, intentional.
Nope.
The king lost everything, like, as far as being, the war, so to speak.
You had me in checkmate from the beginning.
From the beginning, yep.
And I'm not talking about Netero.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, like the feels, this is the thing. I think people have talked to me about like how much the fights and the invasion and the whole like momentous epic just this sequence of story is. But what I actually love about it is it's actually really simple. I go back and think on the York New arc, and in some ways the York New arc is more complicated than the whole invasion and everything there with the Chimera Ant arc.
Sure.
Like, you know how much of it is character focused and is not actually that much plot happening?
Right.
One, because the pace slows down to a crawl.
Yes.
But also because the actual moments where they spend time going into stuff is like Poof's madness. Like, Poof's head is a bag of crazy.
It's a bag of butterflies.
Yeah, we have, like, an entire like segment of the story locked in stasis as Gon and Pito basically have a staring contest for an hour.
Right.
And yet there's so much involved in that because of 116, but then also what, comes afterwards. Like, I really think the reason why the Chimera Ant arc is done so well is because the story is simple, but it's the themes that are complex. Whereas York knew the themes are actually relatively simple, but the plot is complex. And yet he executes on it because Tagashi is a really smart writer.
Sure. And I would say in the York New arc, it was kept very small as far as the characters go, because while there's a lot of the Phantom Troop, you can kind of consider them to be one character. There's the part where there's the internal, struggle and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas with something like the Chimera Ant arc, I mean, humanity versus Chimera Ants aside, there's a ton of different Chimera Ants, all that have vastly different motivations.
Yeah.
There's a ton of different humans that have different motivations and are willing to do different things to achieve said motivations.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Guys, you can now
Shia LaBeouf to shut up.
Yes. Yeah, we've heard about Alexander. Yeah, we'll be checking out his videos for sure. I think about the fact that Netero could have just organized nuking Meruem from a distance, but he was so starved for a real fight that he gave his life for it. That is something that I feel like is something that's good to bring up. Meruem was old. Netero is old as balls. Like, when we think about a character that's lived for that long, dying is not some horrific thing that they're worried about.
Nah.
And I actually really like that he loved Meruem. And I think I didn't get this on the first watch.
Oh, yeah?
There was legitimate, like, you go back and rewatch the fight and the build up to it. There are specific things, even within the techniques of the 100 hand Bodhisattva, whatever, that showcases that there is a real love that Netero is extending to Meruem for giving him this opportunity. Because because Netero won already at this point in the fight.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. It's about how much he can guarantee winning.
Right.
He's basically just playing odds at this point. So I love that. That element of it was again a character thing more than an actual hype Nen thing, because it was a hype Nen thing.
But in the end, it wasn't resolved by Nen even. So unless the
that's a classic example of the Hunter subversion as well.
I'm gonna end your life. Joke's on you.
A prayer comes from the heart. Yep. And then Netero literally embraces Meruem with his final attack. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Biggest tell, Netero making a heart with his hands. Yep. There's all these little things in there, and I think that Netero is another example of a character that wasn't a character until this arc. He was a goofy... He was a goofy old man who almost fulfilled the, like, Roshi pervy old guy.
Oh, yeah, they token through in the pervy aspect at the beginning, and, like, how much did that ever come back across the course of the show? Like
Netero is
almost never.
Yeah, Netero is a different character in the Chimera Ant arc in a good way. Oh yeah, we didn't mention some of the Chimera Ants that were kind of.
Like Ikalgo,
and Melioron.
Yes. Melioron.
Melioron and Ikalgo are one of, again, the best things they did in the Chimera Ant arc.
I mean, Ikalgo started as a sniper, so, like, how bad can it be? I mean, granted, it wasn't a lethal sniper, but,
And he copied other people's bodies, right? That's how
no, he stole them.
Oh, dang it. I really thought he was copying.
I still think that the copy not steal thing is
freaking hilarious.
No, well, yeah, but I still think it should have been copy not steal. Because
okay, I agree.
Like
that's off track.
That's off track.
Let's talk about Chimera Ant. So with the hype moments of the Chimera Ant arc, y'all have seen our reactions. Whoa. Y'all know what were the moments that really got us in the feels, the moments that really hit us. But we want to take this opportunity to hear from you guys some insights that we might have missed, specifically some highlights that you feel like are really important that we go more in-depth detail into. So not necessarily things like that are obvious, like, Meruem and Kamugi's death. Like, we know.
Yeah, like, well, one of the ones that was mentioned was Netero slapping Neferpito away. like the idea that the thing starts and it's like, all right,
now little ant, and poof, poof. That was amazing. I love the idea that also Neferpito is under the full force of physics here.
Right, so she has to fall and hit the ground.
Right, but cannot allow gravity to even do its thing because of the force of the hit. So Neferpito uses the Nen technique, Dr. Blythe,
to be an anchor.
Slingshot anchor to basically arresto momento.
Right.
I love that. That was great. What is it? How about that Reina resolution to finally making us feel better about the fact that they killed off 2 child siblings?
Yeah.
Yes.
That just came out of nowhere. And
that was
like,
so
okay,
good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We did spank Pito's ass. That was pretty pervy. Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Netero had a different voice actor during the Chimera Ant arc, so it fit that his characters were different.
There was someone mentioned earlier that the voice actor for Netero died.
Wow.
And yeah.
Peggy being Melioron's dad, Shookening. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. God's accomplice and perfect plan. Probably best Nen ability ever existed.
Yep.
Okay, so
basically,
also the combination of that with Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's just like
that. Okay, I actually think that combination saved any negatives I could have had with the whole snail crawl pacing of time.
Yep.
Because every minute mattered.
That was absolutely brilliant. Because, like, okay, if you think about Shonen, where it's like, all right, let's fight for 12 episodes. It's like, okay, can we not, please?
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing that animation repeated over and over again.
yeah.
Like actually giving me cancer right now.
Right, exactly.
Stop.
Let's stop and talk for 5 minutes. Twice an episode.
Right.
Yeah. But the fact that they had Chapter 7 bankruptcy in there and Melioron, that was just... It really did make it so that every second mattered. So you were hoping that they could drag out the fight. Like...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's a HunterxHunter switcheroo right there. They take the negative and they're saying, we're going to make you want this negative to happen because it's actually going to be a positive.
Oh, Mesker. By far the main thing you missed was the real Diego saying, now let us drink. Let us drink to the human race. In every age, there will be good humans and bad humans. Human life is too long to devote to reproduction, yet too short to devote to learning. In the helix of time, perhaps that is why humans succumb to desire and seek release, despite the fact that life is complete with the sun, the land, and the poetry. Okay, wow. That line, when I read it, it was something that kind of washed over me, but I didn't want to discuss it because it's basically just beauty. When someone perceives something about what it means to be a part of the human race, there's this sense of connectedness, and I don't think there's anything more to add to that. It's something interesting that there was, I think, the aspect that we did miss, which is the idea of there being, the real Diego, leader of, East Corto and all that. But then also the fake one that was the puppet leader and stuff like that, where the other one was just on some, plantation ranch farm somewhere. Right. And that was a cool twist. But because we didn't care, honestly, about the leader of East Corto, it wasn't some big reveal that made us go, oh, we need to discuss that.
Right. And we wouldn't have remembered the exact words that he used anyways, so...
I mean, yeah, but in the minute of the episode, there were other things that happened that were
exactly
way bigger.
It made it easy to forget.
But yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Because that really is...
yes, not obvious stuff like Yuppie getting characterized during his fight with Knuckles, Shoot, and Morel.
Yep.
That was probably...
That was one of our favorite episodes.
That was one of our favorite episodes in the whole...
Yeah. And I mean, there were a lot of episodes
thing,
that came after that probably surpassed it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
116 was before this, and that was amazing as well.
That was amazing, too, yeah.
God, the voice acting on Gon's voice actor is so good.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
131 is still the best for me. I know, we got to talk about 131 in its own, thing almost, but we can't do that here within, the great time limits and stuff.
Yeah.
Personally, I found that the penguin ant's death by Meron was important, since that triggered Melioron's memories and is what started all the ants remembering their previous lives.
Well, and that was, and if I recall correctly, that was the first time that a chimera ant had killed another chimera ant. Mm-hmm. So that was something that we had been expecting to happen for a long time, and then
it happened.
It finally happened, and we're like, okay. And
we were thinking about the different factions and stuff.
Yep, because there were already factions, but now it's like, no, there's old gen and
new gen,
right?
Yeah. And new gen doesn't care about old gen.
Nope.
Not joking. The message was one of the highlights. All right, so the message
from the reaction or from that part from the series?
Yeah, exactly. I think both for them because the whole thing about that scene and the build up to it and stuff is you could still cut off a bit of it.
The payoff was fantastic though. The payoff was fantastic.
The payoff was absolutely fantastic.
And by the way, just in case there's anyone here that hasn't heard this yet, the reason why I was frustrated was because I care so much about Meruem and Kamugi that I just want to get to that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, just hurry it up, please. Right. I know there's going to be amazing stuff with them. We need to see them get reunited.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Togashi made Palm intentionally into an annoying yandere and unlikable on purpose, so when she does change into a chimera ant, she becomes a better person, aka Togashi showing how chimera ants become better people through becoming human. The same is said when a human turns into a chimera ant. Okay, I still don't... I gotta say...
I personally say the risk, the cost was not worth the reward.
Yep. But and you did not have to use... Because here's the thing, making Palm an unlikable character didn't make her a bad human being.
Right. Yeah.
What you made her an unlikable character was the fact that she had aspects of her character that were so erratic and over the top.
And seemed token.
Yes.
Basically, and she didn't have to be. They could have had her still be, some crazy yandere and stuff and made her be a good character, one of those ones that we love to hate kind of a thing.
Yep.
And then shown how she ends up learning more about herself
and
becoming
Hisoka.
a better person. Yeah, Hisoka is the classic example of how you can have someone that is a bad person.
A bad human being.
Bad human being, but a great
character.
Yeah.
So I disagree with this entirely. I know that the reason of the transformation ties into your themes that you're talking about
and
here.
which is good. You know, if you had someone like Palm, that is a way to basically sort of like recoup some of your costs in that sense. But yeah.
Oh, they took out Nav because his Scream with God's Accomplice is the actual OP combo. Yep, that is true. That is true.
Yeah. Yep. That would have been way busted.
Oh, one of my favorite lines. UP had lost his ability to see things in simple terms.
Yes, that was so good. That was so good.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah,
oh my gosh.
Scream with God's Accomplice would have just been
Whoa, did you guys notice the significance of Bravada? If he didn't exist, Ikaga wouldn't have faced his weakness, which means Welfin would never have found his humanity, which means that he would never have been there to deliver the message. There would have been a completely different ending to the arc. Therefore, Bravada is a hidden catalyst. Now, I think this is also a brilliant example of the discovery-based storytelling. If you think about how the Chimera Ant arc ends, one of the things that forces the ending is Meruem's death, right? Mm-hmm. It also kills, all the others.
Right.
What was the thing that did that? The bomb. Mm-hmm. What was the thing within the bomb that did that? Something that had never been introduced before even the bomb, which was something that had never been introduced before.
Right.
So, in some ways, the best parts of the Chimera Ant arc were not the things that led to the ending having to happen, but were the things that built up the impact of the ending exactly like you're talking about here. So I think that's something that's good to bring up, is that there would have been a completely different ending, but it's something that you can, because of how much of an impetus that carries into it, that is the positives towards how they respond to this. But the actual thing that ended the arc was a plot device that was brought in at the last minute, the last second, to end their lives.
Right. Oh,
which
right.
is something to say that the arc could have gone on for way more time if they wanted to keep them alive. But I think Togashi just wanted them to die.
But the problem still would have been resolved, even though it had been resolved. But yeah.
I still think I want to, at some level, like, analyze with some people how potentially some of my other predictions about Meruem living post-Chimera Ant arc could have worked if they decided to not do the poison thing.
Yep.
And I don't hate the poison thing. I think it's something that makes sense for humans to do.
Yep.
But the idea that the poison didn't affect, anyways. The kid that turned into female and that reunited with her mom destroyed me. Yeah, that was so amazing.
Good. Kill's breakdown in front of Palm. Yes, he's just alive and actually saying the truth. Yes. That was so good.
Totally.
Yeah. It made me care a lot more about Palm as a character. Yeah.
Okay. That feeling when Nov's drained, aged voice is the standard voice for another character in a different series? Oh, really? Huh. That's interesting. What did you guys think of the ending songs in the show? Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, okay. The endings, like the EDs, or like the endings at specific endings for characters? Like the Meruem Kamugi song, with the whole "Are You Still There" thing. Like, that song is amazing, and I've listened to it on repeat quite a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending songs are great too.
Yeah, the whole thing of Meruem gaining humanity and learning to level, Gon falls in this downward spiral and hurts the people he loves. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is absolutely fantastic. In a lot of ways, I would say that, like you were saying, that the York New arc is probably the least discovery-based storytelling arc. Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree, because it's so like, condensed. Yeah. But at the same time, there are so many things in the Chimera Ant arc that, like, those were not accidental discovered little gems. Like, those were very much set up in some amazing ways.
Thoughts on Poof's character. So Poof, I think, is probably the best characterized Royal Guard.
Yes.
And that is nothing to say that the others didn't get characterization, because Yuki definitely did. Mm-hmm. His was very dramatic and sudden.
Yeah.
But it was
and
there.
We loved it, but yeah.
But you can trace the reason why Poof is, like, the best Royal Guard in terms of characterization back to the scene when Meruem asks them about his name. And they all refuse in different ways. But Poof's reasoning is something that's very, like,
Yeah.
Wrapped in a whole ball of stuff.
Here's actually why I would say Poof is the best of the Royal Guard. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason Ahsoka is the best one of the Phantom Troop.
Oh, okay.
It's because he has motivations that are different from the group. So, because, I mean, think about it, right?
Well,
okay, in the Phantom Troop,
okay.
The favorite two Phantom Troop are Crollo and Ahsoka.
Yeah,
right?
for the most part.
For the most part.
But the thing
right?
is that Poof has the same motivations as Pito to see the king essentially be to protect the
sure,
king.
It's both something they want, but their priorities are totally different.
Yeah, their priorities are totally different.
Right, which is basically their motivations.
I mean, yes.
So
but I would say Neferpito then also has different motivations from the group.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, because
she's so dedicated to the king.
No, because
whatever the king wants, she's for.
Right, but Yuppie would have been fine probably with killing Komugi. Neferpito sees how much the king cares about Komugi and then saves Komugi because of that. Poof would have never done that.
Right, exactly.
Right, I'm saying that I don't know if Yuppie...
No. I'm not saying motivations from the group as in like them having the same motivations as other characters.
Oh, okay.
What I'm talking about is that because they have motivations that are in contrary to the group focus of the group objective, basically.
Sure.
That it allows for them to characterize themselves way more because there's an inherent contrast and contradiction.
Yeah.
Not just with the people that they're opposing, in the case of the humans, but also with the other Chimera ants. And like watching Poof do his constant scheming to try and twist things his way was so much fun to watch. Like, even though I wanted him to lose so badly and I was looking forward to it, I also wanted to keep it, have him keep it going a bit longer.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool one, Mesker. Neferpito cared for Meruem. Poof cared for the king.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Wait, nobody remembers the moment when Pito flies to the palace to Meruem and then cries when Meruem entrusts Komugi to her?
Oh, yeah, that scene was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that it's then followed up by 116.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think part of the problem with Pito's characterization is it's hard to tell how much of it was her gaining empathy or her just following Meruem's orders, but she apologized to Gon about kites. So that is the thing. That is the thing. They characterize exactly what they're all about and how they each got different aspects of humanity at that part when Meruem asks them about his name.
Right.
They all give different responses, and I think that is the point where we realize that they all have one different characterization, but also that they all have slightly different motivations. Now, Poof's are the most dramatically different because he wants his vision of the king to be realized. He wants that king to go on and
that was basically
pierce the heavens with his massive drill. And all
that was the point at which that we basically got the chance for the Royal Guard in much the same way as during the Hunter exam when Netero had them all talk about like what they were most afraid of or things like that. That was basically where we got to see the Royal Guard speak for themselves and sum up their character, their personality in one sentence.
Right. Yuppie gave probably the most simple answer I remember at that part, but his answer was one that actually betrayed an intelligence that was
wisdom almost.
a wisdom almost that was better than both of the others. I think that while Yuppie was meant to look like the dumb brute, when it came down to all of their characters having their moments to go introspective, Yuppie actually attained some measure of wisdom. And it's weird to say that. Like, that's why I loved that episode with his characterization.
Yeah, what was that, 118? Or
help us out, chat. We don't remember
118,
what episode was it when Morel, Yuppie... When Yuppie spares, basically, Knuckle and Morel.
Yep, that was absolutely amazing.
When did that happen? Oh, wait. Episode 108 pretty much established that all character motivations when the king questioned who he was. Yep, including his own when he see him save Komugi.
Yeah, that part where he saves Komugi from the bird was absolutely... amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Someone was saying that there was a message from Lyriat that we are missing. I don't see it here. Missed a longer message I wrote about Diego Boy and how it to me was a metaphorical nail in the coffin. So I'll just DM it to you too, unless you want to repost. Okay, thanks, Lyriat. We'll answer that after the stream. This is where I supposed to find Pito cute, asking for a friend. Yeah, Pito's cute. Sure. I mean,
her weird flex, but okay. That was quite literal. I would not call cute. It was cool and terrifying, but I would not call it cute.
There you go. I like a lot of the lines in 126. You think I cannot pray with one hand? Oh yeah, the lines in there were really good. Yep.
Yeah.
121. Okay, 121 was when Yuppie spares them. Okay, yeah, that episode
that was fantastic.
Surprised me. Mm-hmm. Like, I think in actually a lot of ways, the Chimera Ant arc, whenever we'd watch an episode, the next 2 episodes became predictable, if that makes sense. But that part just nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Freaked me out. I loved it so much.
Yeah, because like they actually did the thing. They got the OP combo to work after all this time, and then they throw it away because, well, what's more important?
Oh yeah, after all of Yuppie's characterization, he dies off screen.
I know
that was harsh.
That really made me mad. The idea of Poof dying off screen, I'm like, okay, cool, because there's some poetic justice to that.
He spends a lot of time being a drama queen in front of everything and demanding screen
and
time
to die
from his,
alone
senpai.
Off screen, that was fantastic. But Yuppie dying off screen, like when we didn't even realize that he was going to die. Like, because with Poof, we know that he's going to die, right? Mm-hmm. So then he dies off screen, and we're like, okay, yeah. But then Yuppie dying off screen, it's like, come on.
Yeah, he was just trying to be a good boy.
And he was a good boy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed some follows, I think. Slurbits, Tammy3, and The Fallen Angel 165. I'm sorry if I missed these. I don't remember mentioning out Slurbits. So I realize that's 3 follows we missed. Thank you so much for the follow. Glad to have you here.
Anyone else conclude the eagle was probably under Netero's control? He was a warg.
Ha ha ha. I already talked about Morel being an underrated character. He's one of the most pivotal and professional characters. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where are there anything? I don't think there's anything I missed.
Oh sure, yeah. The off-screen deaths do serve as a reminder of collateral damage and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's still.
Yeah, it just showed brutality of it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, Yuppie had by far the least development of the Royal Guards up to episode 121, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Oh yeah, the orgasm healing. Yeah. Yep.
Oh!
That actually
because the thing is the way
within the context of the story and made sense and was actually a really cool moment, even though.
Oh, it was hilarious though. I gotta say. Poof freaking out like that was hilariously funny, but it was also, I think, kind of... How do I say this? I think it was kind of nice or kind of sweet that the universe gave him the opportunity to be useful in this regard.
Right. Yeah.
And it led to his death. So I think that was kind of perfect. Episode 135 is one of the saddest episodes I've seen of all time, especially Your Lie in April doesn't hold a candle to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode's 135's ending, the tears flowed, man. I mean, they flowed hard.
And hey, you want to know about how to do a villain? Well, okay, Meruem's not really a villain. He's just an antagonist, not even the main character, but, I mean, hey, there you go. Treat him as a character. Give him an arc, and then,
Yeah. The only thing I think we haven't mentioned, though, so far is 131. So, Gon.
Yeah.
Gon's character. We can't deny...
How to do power-ups.
Gon's character is one that we can't deny has been one of the most, up until this point in the story, he's had so much contradiction surrounding his character, which makes him so interesting. But when we finally see him in 116, just go completely off against Pito, there was something so viscerally emotional about it that it just broke me. It was really sad to watch, and yet it was so intense.
So intense and so fitting. Like, because this is exactly the kind of thing that Gon would do. It's the capitulation of his whole aspect of being the determinator to a fault, And
to a very extreme fault. And when he resolves to hold her here, he is doing his job as being a part of the squad. He is keeping Neferpito away from the king.
Yep.
And yet he is also like giving off this aura of confident, just terrifying energy that even though Neferpito probably could have just taken his head off. Like, there were direct orders that were given, you heal Komugi. And Neferpitou is so loyal to the king that Neferpitou wouldn't even risk potential harm done to Komugi if Gon, does any kind of blast of energy or something like that. And I think that was an example of perfect characterization meeting a perfect response from Neferpitou. So them being kind of stun locked on each other there, Gon uses a CC technique that means he has to stun himself for the duration of time.
Right, it's a channeled CC.
It's a channeled CC. He just holds her there indefinitely. It's great.
Yeah, we thought at least I thought the opening scene, Gon going Mob Psycho, was referring to episode 116. Yeah. Yep. And then 131 comes along and it's like, oh
no.
I see.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
So 131. Yeah. Gon. Wow. One of the things that they did really well, if I remember, there was some music, very slight music, in the beginning when he's crying. It's like, you lied.
Yep.
You said you would heal him. He's like, he's dead. And then he's like, now I've got to kill you. There's this really sad, like, defeat involved here. But the actual build-up of Gon's character having this insane contradiction within him. Being actually capitulated on, being actually, like, rewarded with in this episode is something I could have never seen coming. Like, never seen them seen it coming that they would do it this well.
Right, because, and I think that's the crucial part of it.
That is the crucial part
the whole idea of Gon defeating Neferpitou. I mean, they didn't have to do it because it's HunterxHunter and they could go all switcheroo and stuff. Right. But it did kind of need to happen, or at the very least they needed to fight. And the problem is that if they fight,
Gon lose.
should... No, not just Gon will lose, but Gon should die.
Die instantly.
Yep. There should be no contest about it. He should be dead.
Yep.
Right? So how do we handle that? Right? Yeah. And having the main character power up, because it fits the narrative and fits them as a character and all that stuff, when there isn't necessarily an expected reason or whatever for it, that could be considered a Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, but that's the thing.
But oh boy,
was it not?
Was it not?
Was it not? Like, I want to go in depth into this because we both talked about this off screen and stuff. But you think about the whole idea of Nen, right? You think about the whole idea of the vow and the limitations and stuff. That we didn't need to know what Gon's conditions were and all that.
Right.
We got to see them.
Exactly.
There is something beautiful in that there is no exposition.
Nope.
In that whole conflict, that whole little episode there. If anything,
Neferpitou trying to figure out what's going on.
Neferpitou is like, what, Nani? Like, giving her whole, like, Nani the... What? And when this happens, Neferpitou has already kind of sensed something terrifying within Gon back in 116. So this happening, and there's a clear part actually in the fight where it's not even the fight's happened yet. Gon starts to have the aura radiate off of him. It starts to go a little bit off. It's not like full on black and white yet, but it's like, it's off. It's got some yellow in there, but it's also like dark. Neferpitou has a moment once she realizes that it's like raging out and the eyes are the white, like swirling balls, and it's Mob Psycho. Like, it looks that terrifying. She lunges at him, goes right through the smoke, nothing. She went for a kill shot immediately, and he's just gone. Gon is gone.
Oh,
he's not even in the room.
He's not. Yeah, it's like he doesn't even exist at that point.
Exactly. It's like he just phased out of existence. And in that moment, the terror within me, because I'm like, Gon is going to do horrible things to Neferpitou, and I'm not sure I want to see it. I'm not sure I'm ready for it. And then he's just sitting in the other room, standing full, like, 6 foot infinity with his hair, just going up into the heavens, and he's just like, I don't want to fight here. I don't want to destroy this place. Let's go into the woods. It's the most, like, Neferpitou's just like, Yeah, I don't have any choice in the matter. Absolutely. I'll walk behind you, too, even though you don't care that I'm behind you and I can attack. And literally, like, once they get a little bit out of the way, she lunges at him, goes for another kill shot. He sidesteps that and just, boof, kicks her straight up. Now, I don't know if he kicks her straight up at that point. No, I think that's...
There's some point where he kicks her straight up.
Right, but I think it's at that point where he actually just kicks her, like, just through the trees. Like,
oh, yeah?
Okay.
But... Yeah.
But the actual presentation of it, the fact that there's no exposition involved, it's all shown. We don't know what Gon did to get all this kind of power, but we can properly deduce that because this is how Nen works, he put no limit. Like, he said, I will become a husk of a person. I will consume my own life essence, basically.
One might say that we see this happen, and it's like, what did Gon sacrifice to get this?
Everything.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
Well, certainly not to Gon.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. And the ability, like, okay, there's a not a trope. There's a little proverb in writing of, like, break your characters.
Oh yes.
You know.
Yes. Go, Jacob. Go.
I mean. Tagashi did that. He took his 12-year-old protagonist. You know, is this Made in Abyss? Like, and he broke them. You know. Like,
yes.
Like,
what did it cost?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. And like, yeah. Because and here's the thing. This is where I think Hunter x Hunter really shines with its whole do what you don't expect, because it sets up the unexpected to be expected, right? Because of how it's done everything. And then the way it does the unexpected is by doing what would in any other situation be absolutely expected.
Yep.
But then it's also just so tied into the story and the characters and everything that it's absolutely amazing, right? The fact that you're going back to the cliche, right? But you're executing on it so well.
Yeah.
And then the fact that Kilowatt comes in and you can hear and feel the impacts of whatever Gon is continuing to do, and you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
And then Kilowatt walks up and Gon's just punching again and again and again.
Like, basically a corpse.
Yeah, like there's no head left. Like, the look on Kilowatt's face.
So that episode broke me, not just because we saw Gon in his hulked out, adult Gon kind of form, but when Kilowatt shows up, the pain on his face seeing his friend like this is so visceral and real because of the journey they've spent together. And the thing is that Kilowatt has always wanted to be there for Gon, and Gon's never really needed Kilowatt. And this is the thing that we've talked about a lot throughout the series, was Kilowatt never really felt like he could be there for Gon. And Gon is light to him. And to see him in this darkness, in this dark place, is to see basically the beautiful light that saved him from darkness be reduced to something worse than even he was at. Yeah. Something so baseless and simple and just depressing. And like, that was when the tears, I think, hit me the most, was just seeing him in so much pain like this. And Kilowatt couldn't stop him. Kilowatt, like, Gon would not have let him. I almost was worried that Gon was going to actually like fight, Kilowatt and hurt him. So, isn't it weird, guys, that we have this show where Meruem was built up to be this super villain, and in the end, after the Chimera Ant arc is over, we were more scared of what Gon was going to do to one of the villains than we were actually scared about what Meruem would do to any of the heroes. I don't know. There's a whole lot of brilliance in the story. Oh wait, some more subscribers and followers.
Oh yes.
Just another random dude with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Make sure to sync your Discord and Twitch accounts so you can get onto our Discord through the sub room. There's a link in there. Go check it out. Arcada5 and Bello Fiado, thank you so much for the follows. Glad to have you here. Yeah. Okay, y'all. More
favorite parts.
More like favorite parts or favorite insights or really cool insights regarding the stuff that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Love to hear from you guys. Kind Kind of effed that all that happened and Gon is perfectly aware of what he did, but he's still the bright, happy boy after being healed. And the only exchange between him and Kill after all that was, I'm sorry, haha.
Yep.
Okay, there is a part where he says he doesn't remember anything after a certain point. There is a part when, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Tell me if I'm wrong, chat, but I remember in the whole election arc thing, there was a part after he was healed where he's like, yeah, no, I don't really remember what happened after that.
Oh, yeah, it was probably the
maybe
transformation thing, yeah.
Maybe, that's the other thing. If he's giving up everything, he gives up his own memory. He it's like, I want the will to destroy this.
Right.
Like, nothing else matters.
Yep.
People are trying to spoil Vray. Okay, we'll be careful. Ollie too fast? Wait, what?
Probably with
Yeah.
deleting spoilers.
The piano cover of the Chimera Anti-D while everything was black and white. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's an important point to bring up. Not only was the insane power-up limited to Gon because of his potential, but he's one of the very few people capable of having such resolve.
Right.
Wait, no, he's responding to Star Platinum, though. What does Star Platinum say?
Probably just...
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Nen is a concept based on resolve and condition. Most of the time when people say, I don't care about my life, they're just scared and looking for help. In Gon's situation, however, he doesn't care in the slightest about his own life. That was the degree of the damage, and that is the insane resolve he has in killing Pito. Not many people can reach this sort of mindset, but he's been foreshadowed to be mentally unstable. Yes, when his resolve is comboed with his insane talent, and then he goes nuts. And that's a great point, Star Platinum,
I believe 2 exclusive OSTs were used in 131. The one when Gon transformed, and the one when Gon says Daijobu to Kilowatt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the moment to spam that Gungi symbolism Reddit post, guys. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Oh, are you guys talking about how they symbolize the pieces thing?
Probably.
I think someone sent that to me in a DM. Wouldn't Pito die from the rose poison anyway? All for revenge.
I don't think so, because she never actually went to the bomb site.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe she would have eventually.
Maybe if she went to the king's corpse and found him there, he would have died eventually.
Sure, yeah.
Are you considering reading the manga after either on or off stream? We'll probably read the manga at some point, but we're not doing it anytime soon.
Right.
Like, not for a long while, probably.
And there's a very good chance that it would be on our own time.
Yeah. I like how there was set up for it as well as in Greed Island. Again, through to Gon. You have talent and a promising future. Don't you think it's meaningless to throw all that away just for your pride? Whoa, that's good.
That's really good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I still love that Gon says when he makes the sacrifice, I don't care if this is the end, so I'll use everything. Yep. That legit gave me a heart attack. Yeah, that was the line where he's basically saying, oh yeah, I don't care what the resolve is I need for this. I will use everything. Yeah. Oh, Ryuzak, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime subscription.
Yes.
Appreciate it. I kind of screwed how after everything he said to Killua, he just apologized off screen. I don't know. I thought he apologized on screen.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't like a very a lot of time dedicated to the apology.
Gon saying it's okay, Killua, it doesn't hurt, killed me. Yeah, that was really
that's
something.
Yeah.
Oh man. Mob Psycho. We'll talk about Mob Psycho and maybe put up a Twitter post on reactions for something for that. I love if you guys would read from the beginning like Berserk someday. Maybe. We'll see. Can we all sing Departure at the end of the stream just for funsies and nostalgia? The end of 148, you guys had a satisfied reaction. You had like a satisfied reaction. Does the other two characters not give you curiosity? Wait, what?
I have no idea what they're meaning.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
Okay.
Kill with Screaming Gon gave me actual chills. Yeah, that.
Yeah. So a lot of people are doing spoilers apparently, so I'm going to avoid the chat for a second.
Okay, so
the election. Arc. So politics.
They're
boring.
Exist. Yeah. The stuff with Alaka and Killua though.
The stuff with Alaka and Killua was top.
Excellent.
Top.
It was back.
It resolved Killua's arc.
It resolved Killua's arc. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
The whole thing of the idea of the outside world and the idea that in some ways we have been building up to, like throughout this time, the idea that Nen and this world is like just a small part of the bigger picture. People were saying that like way back when Melody's whole Dark Sonata, Devil's Sonata thing was even a foreshadowing of like
I
the
absolutely
world beyond.
believe it. I feel like that was put in there specifically to make it be like, because at the beginning, the very beginning of the show, it talks about like, you know, wealth, treasure, and you know, monsters, and you know, stuff, and da 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 da, hunter, blah, 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 right? I feel like Melody bringing up the Devil's Sonata was like a direct reference back to that aspect in that theme and saying, no, that is a thing. We're not dealing with it right now, but that is a thing.
No, so, but oh my gosh, when we opened up the world and they had the conversation with Jing at the top of the tree,
that was fantastic.
That was so perfect because I think in some ways Jing is meant to be the character that describes the whole show. Right.
And that was kind of him summing up, Togashi basically summing up why he made HunterxHunter, kind of.
Yeah. And that's beautiful, and it's something that I think we can only do in this type of a story because it's been established through Gon's character.
Sure.
How much this fits with Jing. So if we say that Jing is kind of the picturesque character of HunterxHunter, it kind of makes him a main character without being the main character. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Gon is the main character.
Sure.
But in some ways, everyone's says, "Oh, you remind me of Jing. You remind me of Jing." Mm-hmm. And then when Jing gives us his big characterization dump at the end, it's like, of course, this is his character. Of course, this is who he is. Mm-hmm. It just makes it so poignant and perfect that I can't imagine HunterxHunter ending any other way. And that is part of the reason why I don't want to actually read the manga anytime soon.
Because you want that to be the end of it?
No, I don't want it to be the end of it. As I said, I actually don't want HunterxHunter to end ever because I love the world stuff that this guy does.
Oh, okay.
I've always loved the idea of having an unending world story.
Yeah. Me too. The reason why I said that is because basically that is in some ways causing it to not end. Right. Because if you read the manga, there will come to a point where, okay, we're in hiatus land and there's no more. Yep. Right? Whereas if you leave it as that, then it's all imagination. Right. You know, it can be anything that comes after. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally. Oh, man.
The parting between Kilowatt and Gon was just
tears, man.
Rips the heart out. Yeah. The bit with Aluka and Kilowatt and something. Yeah. That I did not see that coming, and that was excellent.
It is interesting because someone was telling me that the subtitles we were giving were calling something, but in other subtitles they call something Nanaka, which is actually what Kilowatt is saying in Japanese. Oh, yeah. And which is interesting because something is capitalized, so it's like it's a name.
So, does Nanaka just mean something, or does it mean like, or does it mean like something slightly different?
I don't know exactly, but someone DM'd me on that, and I was like,
I find it funny though that it's Nanaka when that's very similar to Nakama.
Oh, that too. Yeah. I was thinking it's also very similar to Aluka. Nanaka, sure. Aluka, it all ends with a K. Okay. Oh man, but yeah, what are some of your highlight moments of the election arc?
Seems like Pariston is a fan favorite.
Wow. Okay. Election subplot greater than Aluka subplot. Oh, okay. Best boy Pariston time. Why?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's a pretty important Zoldyck family relation flowchart that wasn't translated in the anime version. Okay, we'll check that out later. The main thing you can't discuss enough was Pariston. By the end of the arc, his character can be understood.
Yes, he can be understood.
Yes. But it doesn't mean we necessarily liked him.
Yeah. See, the thing is, Pariston reminded me kind of... Okay, He reminds me basically of fairies and like traditional, sort of fantasy stories or whatnot. I hate fairies.
Yeah.
I hate them so much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
And that's basically what it was. And does it make his character like, I absolutely understand it. And it can make him interesting, in a degree. but I hate him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great comparison. I like it. I think you misunderstood what's going on with the Chimera Ant cocoons. Oh, okay. Cocoons aren't in the hands of the Hunter Association. Pariston took the cocoons for himself because they were under the control of the Hunter Association, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, he
They were
might be the one
secretly
directly
retrieved by
overseeing them.
Pariston's faction, and very few people know about it. Jing only found out because he had befriended some airship pilots.
But unless Pariston is interested in splitting from the Hunter Association or taking control of the Hunter
That's the
Association,
thing. He's obviously not done here as a character. That's
Right,
probably
right.
why he's a fan favorite. Is that his
Sure.
storyline isn't over.
But yeah.
Can you talk about Pariston? Yeah. Oof. Gotcha. YouTube comments were sad that you didn't discuss Pariston's characterization 146. Lol. Gotcha.
That's just because we don't like him.
That's because we weren't really the biggest fan of Pariston. You know? Yeah, that's all. Goto versus Hisoka. Yeah.
And then it's like Goto died, but then he didn't die, or he did die, but there was another...
Someone clarified it for me. It's that Goto did die, but it's that they didn't want Kilowatt to know.
Gotcha.
So they had...
Right, because he would have felt bad because it was because of his actions. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Good old Deus Ex Nanica. Yeah. Yeah, I think, though, that because it's tied into the whole bigger world outside, like, that whole idea that, like, this is more than just... You know, it makes it really interesting.
Okay, yes, the part with Pariston crying, that took me by surprise as well, and that did make me appreciate his character a bit more, but I still hate him.
Yeah, I think that I never really hated Pariston. I just never really liked him. Like, it's a state of just like, you're a character. I understand why you're here in the story, and I understand that you actually got some characterization. That's cool. But the thing is that, like, here's another thing that's actually a little bit of a hard pills to swallow in HunterxHunter.
The message.
No. Netero is not that great of a character. Now, let me unpackage what I'm saying here. Is that Netero actually doesn't... He gets a whole, like, backstory bit and stuff like that.
And that was great.
And that was great. But if you actually, like, look at how much screen time we actually get with him in the present, it's not a lot.
And if you were to describe his personality, you would
have trouble giving accurate descriptions
without just going into describing what he does, or more of like the token traits that are given to him, like the perviness or whatever, to sort of make him be easier to identify.
Well, I think that they give us a lot through Zeno's actual commentary, but when we actually get down into the whole idea of Netero passing, I have a little bit of trouble being that mournful or sad about his death, and therefore Pariston's thing of being like, I really miss him. It's like, yeah, I understand that you miss him, but I don't necessarily, I don't know. I don't really necessarily like feel like the story made it so that Netero's character was one we were really going to miss more than just the awesomeness that he brought to the table.
He did awesome things in the story, and he was there for awesome moments in the story. But as for him as a character, we didn't really get to know him very much. Apparently, so someone said up there that in the 1999 version, apparently the voice actor for Pariston was the voice actor for Hisoka.
Oh, okay.
Which is now like... seems really depressing to me, because then it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that if I were to watch the 1999 version, I wouldn't get to hear Hisoka as Hisoka?
Oh. No. Lirio punching Jing was perfect. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic.
Yep. Hisoka figuring out who to kill and who to make enemy when he was hiding behind a tree.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was like classic
that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Not election arc, but honestly, I just want to go back and watch more of Kamugi's moments, especially your saying gratitude for... and saying, is it okay to be this happy? Yeah, that was great, yeah. Here's a bit from an interview with Togashi on him needing to end the series one day. I also need to think about wrapping up HunterxHunter once and for all. There have been a lot of times when it stops showing up on the pages of Shonen Jump, and I'm sure people are wondering what I'm doing, but just as a comedian doesn't show up on TV for a while sometimes, he's still working somewhere else, and I'm working every day. Sometimes I'm not sure which will expire first. The series probably, or me. Yeah. Okay, since the arc review section of the podcast is almost over, can we please get a Nen roleplay section, please? Remember that Parison is basically confirmed to have evil intentions. Yes, he was sabotaging the mission against the Chimera Ant by not sending the hunters that Morel and Nav were asking for. Gotcha.
Oh,
That's a good point. And he took the cocoons for himself. He is planning something. I think it's okay that you don't like him now, but he is an interesting character for what he could represent for the plot in the future. That's a great point.
Sure.
That's a great point. I think that Parison, this is the great point here. I don't like Parison, but I actually would love to see him beaten as a villain. There's something about loving to hate certain people, and I actually think that Parison is just this close to being in the love to hate category. But remember, in the love to hate category of this show, we have a long list of other characters that are way better, in my opinion, than Parison.
So Hisoka, for instance,
Parison misses the playfulness of Netero. Parison wants someone to challenge for the sake of it. He challenges the norm for the sake of it. That's why Netero wanted him as a vice chairman.
I thought that was a really good aspect of like sort of development for Netero after he was dead.
And also it's something that I think was well communicated in the story, so I didn't think we needed to discuss it as much when it came up. Netero is tied for your favorite character with Gon. I love characters that love to fight, and Netero is the furthest extreme of that, and for any reason I can't fit into a relevant Twitch comment. Gotcha. I would actually love to see some people add us on Twitter. Please at me on Twitter why you think Netero is a great character. Like, because I want to be convinced. I want to be convinced, and please, you don't need to call me, garbage or anything like that just for not having maybe a good opinion on this. But I actually want to be convinced because I think that Netero's character was built up to be awesome rather than actually being a good character. I would love to hear opinions to the contrary, though. Please at me on Twitter. I will respond. Just put something like #Netero is a good character or something like. So, I think you guys underestimated Parison a lot when he is as intelligent as Jing, and when he resigned, even Jing didn't see that coming. But I agree with Jacob that Jing is very selfish. The moment you meet your father, but he's more into his own dreams and goals than he is into meeting his son.
Yep.
Did I say that Jing wasn't selfish? Oh, that's right. We had that whole disagreement about Jing's selfishness versus hit. Yeah. Oh man. I still feel like I'm kind of right about that.
Well, right, yeah, it's just disagreements like that tend to be just disagreements based on the prioritization of how you look at things, your perspectives and whatnot.
Totally. Yeah, great point. Oh,
and for a shorter quote from that same interview, all I can really do is come up with stuff that entertains me. If I was working on something I considered boring, that would be torture.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oof.
Totally get that.
Seed, the Bleach guy.
Well,
Netero is best badass anime old guy. See, that's the thing. That's what I would summarize him as.
Badass anime old guy. Yeah.
With some other elements of characterization, but not actually that much.
Twitter explodes.
Hey,
Alexander made a video on Netero.
Oh, he did? I'll bet you it was entirely focused on that backstory and not actually on the character. Okay, here's what I'll predict about that video. It'll be about the backstory bit, but it'll be about the way he related to Meruem and the way he connected with Meruem in the fight.
That was
not
absolutely
actually
fantastic.
His character.
Yeah.
Again, that's something he did, not his actual character. So
right, because that. Yeah, I mean it's insight, but the thing is, it's one instance. So.
Okay, we'll just watch the Alexander Netero video because it's non-spoilery.
Okay, cool.
By good, you mean what? More having a unique identity with regards to why he does what he does,
right? And
having a motivation and characterization that goes beyond one or two dimensions.
And the thing is, he doesn't need to be a great character necessarily. He plays his part in the story, right?
Right.
He's like, if you think about screen time, Netero doesn't have that much, so it makes sense that he wouldn't be one of the best characters, right? He has a lot of weight in the plot, for sure.
Yes.
But
my thing is that when I was tying that all back to Pariston, when Pariston cries for Netero, I never saw really that much of Netero's character that it seems Pariston saw. It's like Pariston has this view on Netero that none of us got.
Right, which is kind of like a way to sort of retroactively develop Netero in a sense. Like that's I think why that sideline didn't got to me is because because for Pariston to say that about somebody, then it must really mean something, because Pariston probably wouldn't say that lightly.
Oh, right. To me, the disagreement nearly was a semantic debacle of language, not to dismiss the interesting discussion. Separate ideas of self-fulfillment and materialistic greed, and how the word selfish can be used positive and negative, though in recent time, almost only negative. That was my point. Yep. Yeah. Good stuff.
I think that was my point, too. So, we really, Yep.
Watching message deleted pop up is hilarious, to be honest.
Hey, it's all about the message.
And then someone typed in message deleted.
Yeah.
The message. You guys missed my question, or did you answer it already? I don't know. Don't watch those Alex videos. Sit back and watch the disappointment. Wait, what?
The disappointment of everyone else is we don't watch them.
Oh, gotcha. By the way, you should be careful with watching his videos, since some of them have manga spoilers. Okay, yeah. Can't have a big brain if you're dead. Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Okay, so Hunter, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned our favorite reactions of 2018. And we didn't put Hunter on the list.
Right. Because it goes way more than 2018.
Because it goes way more than 2018. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, in terms of emotional investment and reward and payoff, the last few episodes of the Chimera Ant arc are so good.
Those are brutal.
I think they actually kind of changed my life in a small way. Like,
really?
I really do think they did. Like, the channel as a whole, guys, getting a little vulnerable here. The channel as a whole has allowed me to be real, I think, for the first time in a while. Just letting you guys know, like, a lot of groups of people end up in situations where they're not really rewarded for expressing their emotions in a pure and honest, unfiltered way.
Yes.
And most times, in general, that's the case because in actuality, it's a safety mechanism.
Right.
Unfiltered emotion is something that, isn't necessarily the best thing, like, all the time.
Right. And it can also be something where it's like, well, okay, that's great, but, I don't know you that well, right? Yeah. So I don't want to go through the effort of processing all this emotional stuff that, might be on the surface, right? So
but this ending to the arc of the Chimera Ant arc, because it's whole themes of humanity, there are specific people in my life who are really good intellectual discussing people. I want them to watch Hunter now just so I can talk to them about these kinds of themes, and yet I know they'll never watch it.
Right, it's like, just wait till episode 135. It'll make you cry your eyes out.
And the thing is that, like, that, like, breaks my heart. But I gotta say, I'm so glad that we get to discuss it with you guys.
So I guess all we have to do is turn to you guys and say, are you still there?
Are you still there? Yeah. So, Hunter moved me in a lot of ways. I do think in a lot of ways it is a masterpiece. I do think that it probably was one of the most difficult reactions for me to do as far as discussion and just kind of understanding it as a show. But in terms of just emotional payoff, it's something else.
Hunter. So,
oh yeah, the Jing quote at the very end. Oh yes, the detours. Oh my god.
Yes, that was literally like I think we mentioned it in the video. It's like, hey,
roll credits.
Togashi is saying his final piece to the audience.
Yep.
But like, Hunter is so different from most other shows. Like, Hunter is one of those things where I really don't think there will ever come a show that's like it, Maybe some that will be similar or will try to rip off certain things of it, and usually you're doing it badly. Holler, teenage edgelord with a revenge story that has red eyes and all that stuff, and has people who murdered his client and all that stuff. But there are so many things that Hunter did that I never would have expected, even knowing to expect the unexpected. And there were so many times where it felt like the cost that it was paying to do those things, like the cost, like nothing should be worth this cost, right? Yeah. And then they go and do it. And they're like, no, it was. You see this right here? And going into it, I was of the opinion that, oh yeah, one core shows are the way to go, and you shouldn't try do anything long form because of author exhaustion and things like that, and problems and plot holes and forgetting about the main themes of the show and things like that. And
I don't think Hunter ever did that. If anything,
Nope.
it evolved with the writer.
Yeah.
I think that Togashi, you can see a lot of himself in his writing growing as he developed and created HunterxHunter.
Going on a whole journey along with the characters.
Yeah.
And if that's not then fantastic, then what is? It's like HunterxHunter got at why we love stories, right? It's the ability to go on a journey. And after we're done with one journey, we want to go on another one, Yeah.
Guys, this has been an awesome podcast. It's gone on for a lot longer.
Yes, longest podcast we've ever done.
But, hey, it's all good. It's HunterxHunter. It's worth it. HunterxHunter went on for a while. So
148 episodes for a 3.5-hour podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Seems about right.
Seems about right.
Yeah.
But y'all are amazing.
Yeah.
Y'all are fantastic. I'm so glad that we got to do this with you guys. And I love that also we can kind of laugh about, like some things that were probably kind of like emotionally stressful for both you guys and us, like when they happen and stuff. And I also like that, in some ways this is the show that has so much passion around it that like I still am getting to understand like different aspects of that passion. It's not something that I fully understand yet. And that I think is something that means I'll have to rewatch this series. Not because like I need to understand you guys and your passion for it, but because there's things that I don't understand about this story yet. I still want to get into like specific themes that I feel like I could only discuss so much because I would either be rambling or I would just have like a blank brain dead look on my face as I'm like trying to process it all in my head before I can actually orate it to you guys. So guys, this was awesome. This was incredible.
Thanks for getting us to watch this show.
Yeah, which is incredible because I think this is probably the most difficult show for us to have actually like sit down and watch.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if there was anything that was even close to this because this is a long show. But not only that, this is a long show that was a shonen. And I don't know if you remember like way back when.
Oh yeah, like just at first like MHA reactions.
Yeah,
like,
I did not like the idea of going into old school shonen again.
Or just shonen at all.
Just shonen at all, really.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So oh my god, you guys are fantastic. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna wrap things up here. We'll see you tomorrow for the Berserk manga reaction.
Yeah.
We're gonna
completely in new territory now.
Yep. We're gonna be doing Doki Doki on Thursday.
Yep.
So yeah, 3 p.m. tomorrow for Berserk, 5 p.m. Thursday for Doki Doki, and 5 p.m. Friday for just gaming with me.
Yeah, and these are all Pacific Standard Time.
All Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.